Show.
Howdy, everybody, and welcome in to the Saturday Night Booze and Games Extravaganza. How is everybody? I know we got a later start than usual, but we were watching the Trump show. And how can you not watch the Trump show? So we watched that.
Got a good little buzz going already.
Yep, I got to crack open.
Thanks, Trump.
Well, I got a what you might refer to as a build-your-own six-pack.
You liked that last week.
I did, so I decided to build my own six-pack with some more stuff.
What'd you get this time?
Well, I'll show you guys here in a second. But first, let me send out a tweet to everybody. Make sure everybody's good to go. Live on Twitch. I want to let everybody know we're here live on Twitch. Join us.
Also, before we get started,
Get drunk. What?
if you could fill up Luther's water bowl, I'm kind of stuck with the new camera placement, so it's not
Gotcha.
easy for me to get up.
All right, hold on.
But this gives people a chance to get in. There you go.
All right.
Thanks,
Here
Dad.
we are.
Thanks, Dad.
Here we are. So I hope everybody's well tonight.
Oh, see?
Oh, he's like, Dad, I'm so thirsty. Thank you for acknowledging that I'm so thirsty, and I needed to have this beverage right now. I'm so thirsty, Dad. I'm just thirsty, and I got to drink, Dad. I got to get my crunk on, Dad. I like all these people who are in the chat saying, no shirt yet. Did you think, like, I've been telling you guys every day what the deal is with the shirts. The shirts were not even finished until middle of the week. And they've all now been shipped out. So there's actually a couple of shirts that didn't get shipped out yet, I should say. So there will be the rest of them Monday. But every other shirt has been sold out. I think that they said the extra largest took a little bit longer. So they will be shipped out on Monday. So there you go.
Lucy, what are you doing?
So hope everybody's well today, though. I do have the new Just Nation t-shirt on. They come in white and black. And if you would like to order one, you know what to do. The link, someone will post the link, I'm sure. And this is what the new Just Nation t-shirt looks like. You can be part of the nation. Nearly 100 people have purchased their Just Nation t-shirts.
They're very comfortable.
So, yes, they are. They're awesome. I just got these today. And rock and roll. Rock and roll. Let's see here what everybody has to say today as we get things started here on this Saturday night party we've got cooking. Let me do something here. Let me kill this. I'll go back to that later. I think it kind of slows us down a little bit. Let's see here. Again, Corey, everybody, you will get your Just Nation t-shirts if you have ordered your Just Nation t-shirts. What size are you wearing? How do they fit? Mine is this is a 4X. So, again, they're a little bit, they're a snugglier fit than, the boxier t-shirts. These are a little bit more of a form-fitting shirt.
But they're also stretchy.
They are, yeah. I mean, they fit fine. I'm just saying, like, a boxier type shirt might fit a little bit bigger.
Yes.
These fit a little bit tighter.
These, would you say, what, an athletic fit?
Maybe that would be how you would define it, I guess.
They look
An
amazing,
athletic
though.
fit.
They
They're
look
great
so
shirts.
good.
Now, tonight, kiddos, we went over to Specs today, and I got a build-your-own six-pack.
Six-pack?
A six-pack. So, because last week it was a big hit. So today I built my own six-pack. Is it dry fit? It is not a dry fit shirt. It is just a very soft, stretchy cotton. It is not dry fit.
It's a cotton blend, I believe.
The stream sucks tonight, says Coma Jim. Is Coma Jim accurate? Does the stream suck tonight? Because if the stream sucks, I'm seeing 0 dropped frames. I'm seeing that the internet is fine. I don't think the stream sucks tonight, friends. Again, I could be wrong. Just restart the stream for yourself over there, Coma Jim, and you should be good.
And now
Just
that your
restart.
partner status, from what I read,
Well, it isn't official yet. I had to put I had
Right.
to put it in for that.
but once
yes.
you are, it's going to make sure that these stream delays don't happen on your account.
Gotcha.
Because evidently, when you're a partner, you're cool.
So I have got AleSmith Brewing Company from San Diego, by the way.
I like West Coast beers.
That's why I got this one. This is the Modern Times Beer Cosmic Omnibus Hazy India Pale Ale with citrus zest.
You should send that to Sean Salisbury. He probably knows all about San Diego IPAs.
Probably. This is 6.8%.
Mm.
Okay, so that's one beer I have in here. I did not get the Steve Austin one today.
Although, if you're looking for it, the Specs in Midtown has plenty. I saw a lot of people asking
Correct.
last week where you got it from. That one I think you're really going to like.
This one has potential to be just fantastic. Getting Tiki with it, made by Left Hand Brewing Company from Longmont, Colorado. Getting Tiki with it, Pina Colada Wheat. This has potential to be one of the greatest beers I've ever consumed in my life. So there's that one. I have got Impeachment IPA from Legal Draft in Arlington, Texas, home of the former Rangers. They're going to have to change their name. They just will. Impeachment IPA. That's one. Now, the other, what was the coconut IPA? This one, the 7.5. So I got some heavy ones tonight, at least heavy for me. And then we have got this one, 6.2.
We did put down a couple 8.2s.
We did.
Not
And I've
put
already
down
had-
as in
I've
drank,
already-
by the way. I mean, put them down on the shelf.
Yes. This is Parish Brewing Company, which is one of our favorites, by the way. Parish Brewing Company, Greetings from Grand Isle, a Louisiana beer. This is coconut, kiwi, lime, Berliner style beer, 5.6. So not overly heavy. I have a feeling that this beer from Parish Brewing Company is going to be incredibly good. All right. I also have Platypus Brewing, which is here locally, right? Out of Orbit Hazy IPA.
I think Platypus is right down the road.
And this is 7%. And then finally, my other beer I have for tonight out of my Make Your Own 6-pack. This is called Founders Unraveled IPA from Founders Brewing.
Where is Founders?
Where
Brewing?
is Founders? That is in, I forgot where Founders is. But it's, this is a Juicy India IPA, 6.6. So I think those are pretty good numbers there.
Founders Brewing is in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Well, Grand Rapids, Michigan, hello. Glad you're there. But anyway, that's what we're doing tonight. Those are my 6. And then if, as this thing rolls on tonight, we'll probably have some different kinds.
We got a 6-pack. I'm drinking the Sweetwater.
Out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Sweetwater Blue, to be exact. It's a blueberry wheat. It's delicious. One of my favorites. And we also bought the Karbach Southern Wheat, which is a beer that we both really enjoy.
Yes. So this is where I will start today.
Which one?
I'm going to start with the Impeachment IPA India Pale Ale from Legal Draft in Arlington.
Read the story.
I will read the story. Hold on. You have the right to drink great beer with flavor and character, made locally and enjoyed with friends and family. Know your rights. Another definition: to question the truthfulness of a testifying witness. When Texas peaches meet premium malt and hops in a great craft IPA, it's totally credible.
Okay.
6.2% in this bad boy. I love doing the build your own 6-pack. I've grown to really enjoy
You
this.
like sampling things. Now, the problem is we don't remember which ones you like.
Correct.
So we never can buy the full 6-pack of what you
Correct.
like.
Therein lies the rub, I think. And
So,
sometimes we struggle with that.
If somebody in the chat wants to remember which one Josh really likes tonight,
Please do. And while you're at it, hey, can somebody post the link to the Gist Nation shirts?
Joe.
Who wouldn't want one of these bad boys?
Joe, get on it.
Somebody. Usually it's Joe is usually not the poster.
Pinche
of
Pancho
links.
Villa usually helps us
That's
out
our
with that.
guy.
Yeah.
So we'll start with this. Should I just take a picture again with all these beers and just tweet them to the brewers like we did last week?
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. There we go. First one of the night. Impeachment IPA, bitches. If I buy 2 shirts, will they arrive faster? I don't think so, friend. I don't think that's how it works. Adam Prophet says he's miserable. What's new, Adam Prophet? But thanks for the bits. Anyway, and if you guys want to throw some bits, if you've already bought your shirt, it's Saturday night and we drop in bits. Trump planted black guys in the audience tonight. Let's see. I planted a black guy on my midday show. We're not racist. All of you are. Oh, that's Spike Eskin. I don't think that's actually Spike Eskin. I'm thinking it's not. Have shirts been shipped yet? The majority of the shirts have been shipped, yes. I talked to the guys yesterday, and there was one batch of them they didn't get out. They forgot to ship out the extra larges. Other than that, they've been shipped, and on Monday, the extra larges will be shipped. And, of course, if you order today, they'll get those out fast if you haven't ordered one yet. But, yes, it's free shipping.
It's good shipping, too. I've seen their pictures. I think they do, like, the 2-day priority, 3-day priority, so it's not like the kind that's going to take you 7 to 10 business days to get there. It should get there relatively soon.
Yes. So be ready for your T-shirts and then show your gis. How do you have the money to afford all this alcohol since you haven't been employed in 14 months? I forgot that I have no money, old greatness. I apologize that I can't afford to buy beer. Have I ever told anybody that I don't have the money to buy beer? Have I ever intimated that I don't have the money to buy beer? Like, consider, you say you've been unemployed for 14 months. You haven't had a job for 14 months.
But luckily, we were smart about things, so we
There
do
you
have
go.
some money to
Yes.
fall back on. Plus, this shit's a business expense. We'd buy this for the show.
My shirt hasn't come yet. I ordered last Saturday. Again. The shirts didn't ship until the middle of this week. They were not printed last week. They got printed in the middle of the week.
Also, most of you must not do online shopping because outside of Amazon Prime, things usually take 5 to 10 plus business days, especially with the Rona.
It's like, hey, guys, hey, I ordered my shirt. Where is it?
They
like,
don't
hey,
just
I just
show
ordered my
up.
shirt. Where's your shirt? Where's my shirt? Where's my shirt? I just ordered my shirt. Where's my shirt?
I waited like 2 weeks for some spices, but I got them. They're coming.
Oh, man. Let's try this. So this is the Impeachment IPA India Pale Ale. That's not bad. It's not like overpowering peach
I was wondering because I know you're not the biggest peach fan, but
because it doesn't really even taste like peach. It's not really overpowering or anything like that.
so what do you rate this one?
That's fine. I mean, it's not the
It's
greatest
fine.
beer I've
Okay.
had.
So you guys remember, impeachment, it's fine.
It's fine. Just remember that one for later. Impeachment Pale Ale, it's just fine.
That means you'll just have to hurry up and down that one to get to a better
fine.
one.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Luther, how do you rate your water?
Oh, it's just water. It's your basic garden variety water. Nothing special. Nothing to write home about.
Well, I wonder if maybe he's like his dad because he gets, up here and in the bedroom, he gets like bottled water.
That's true.
You want to sound really spoiled. He gets like the giant, like 80-cent jug because we don't have a sink up here. So obviously it's easier just to buy a jug.
Mm-hmm.
So I had wondered if Luther prefers the HEB water or the Target water. If he's a water snob like his dad,
Mm-hmm.
I want to know.
Yeah. I mean, he should be. I'm a big supporter of water snobs. I support water snobbery. Let's see. What other
Were you
people-
tweeting with Adam Carolla today?
I was tweeting with Adam. I mean, if you want to call it that, if you want to say that I was tweeting with Adam
Well, I mean, there was
Carolla.
like a back and forth for like 4 tweets.
Well, I tweeted that I enjoy guys like Adam Carolla and Joe Rogan and Clay Travis and a guy by the name of Zuby.
We should get Zuby on the podcast.
We should. Zuby is this dude that lives, I think, in England.
He's really funny.
And he's just funny on Twitter. And I said, I like guys like this, right? So Adam Carolla responds and says, thanks, buy my book. And I said, well, I've already bought your book. The issue is it's like back ordered on Amazon and I don't know when it's going to get here. And he says, love you. And I said, I love you as well.
Look at that.
And that was that.
That's a good correspondent.
That is. And then all of a sudden, all my tweets start getting liked by all these people and I pick up like 50 followers. It's bizarre. That's the world we need to be living in, that Carolla and Rogan and Clay Travis type of world.
And Zuby.
And Zuby. Zuby kicks ass,
We
man.
need to get Zuby.
I love Zuby's Twitter. Zuby's got a great Twitter because he's like this British black dude. And I don't know if he's actually British or not. I've never heard him talk.
What's his actual Twitter handle? You should tell people to go follow Zuby and maybe we can get him on the podcast.
It's just, I think, is it just at Zuby something?
I don't know. He's your friend.
Let's see here. I think it's just Zuby. It's at Zuby Music. So this dude's got like 276,000 followers. He's from Southampton, England. And basically, he just annoys a lot of people because he's this black guy with takes that don't usually fall in line with the takes of a black guy. So like people get all worked up, and he's not from America, so he's got different kind of viewpoints about all of it. So That's how that went today. And he's followed me. He's seemingly a very nice guy. We need to get him on. You should try to get on Carolla's podcast. Well, I'm sure I would if I could. Let's see. Can't wait to rep my Jizz shirt, MFers. That's good. What are your thoughts on the Mike Florio Pro Football Talk Outkick Twitter beef? I don't know why anybody would like Mike Florio, only because he doesn't do anything. Like, the problem is, and I see what you're saying, Joe, that Clay Travis and Mike Florio had the back and forth. Clay unearthed all Florio's posts mocking gay people and retarded people, it says. Here's the thing. Florio is worthless. Florio means very little in the grand scheme of things. Florio is not a creator. Florio is like if the Drudge Report it was just dreadful, like a dreadful version of the Drudge Report. He has no real skill. He just has a website that is a link hub to other people's work. And he basically just says, here's this story, and adds like a shitty opinion. And he has a horrible radio show. I don't even think it exists anymore. And then he has this TV show that nobody watches. So Florio is a waste. Clay at least has created something. Whitlock has created something. A lot of people, we've created something. There are people that have actually created something based on their own abilities, based on their skills, based on what they do. And Florio is not one of those people. I guess I should give him credit for somehow getting rich, being a complete no-talent boob, I guess.
That's something.
But I mean, and that's what he's been able to pull off. He's rich. I assume he's rich, does well for himself. And it's all based on a website that just posted links to other people's stories. He doesn't have sources. He takes other people's stories, puts them up, and they say, well, according to Pro Football Talk. No, he just takes stories from the Indianapolis Star, the Kansas City Star, or the New Orleans Times-Picayune, or the Advocate, or the Chronicle, or whatever website, and post them on his website. And people have given him credit for that in some way. But I am not a fan of his. And I don't think many people are. I don't know anybody who's like, you know who I really fucking like? Boy, I really like Florio. Let me tell you, bro. Mike Florio is the shit, bro. Nobody does. Like, he's not the kind of guy that has an audience or fans. He might have an audience because he's Pro Football Talk, but no one's like, you know who I tune into every day for opinions? Mike Florio. That dude brings the shit. Nobody says that because it's a waste. Because he's a waste.
Boom.
Boom indeed. Boom, boom, boom. What I enjoy is like buddies of mine like Meltzer and other guys. Like, they don't seem to like Clay Travis. I actually like Clay Travis. We used to have him on the show all the time. I like what he and Whitlock are now doing. The guy that runs their website now is a guy by the name of Sam Savage. That's the guy I need to get in touch with, this Sam Savage, and be like, listen, Gist Nation should be part of Outkick.com, and I think we fit right in.
I think it would.
I think that Gist Nation and Outkick.com would have a sweet, sweet relationship, and I think it'd be fantastic. But that's who I need to get in touch with. I need to find an email address for Sam Savage, who I think used to, like, I listened to an interview with him on Jason Barrett's website. Now, Jason Barrett's website is largely useless. There's no criticism of anybody on it. It's just like blowing different sports radio stations and posting radio ratings, and it's really worthless for the most part. And then charging people to post their shit on his website, whatever. Okay, but he did an interview with a guy that I actually found interesting. It's not like, hey, here's this guy that produces afternoons in Des Moines. We're going to talk with him for 30 minutes. It's actually a guy that's doing something. If you don't want to call it innovative, that's fine, because websites like Barstool and others have done the approach. But I think what Clay is building, Clay is potentially building something that is kind of I don't want to say conservative, because I don't think he's conservative, and I don't know that Whitlock's conservative, and I'm not conservative, or what, like, you know, by the definition of conservatism. But it's giving that alternative to the mainstream sports media that, if you want to go Trump tonight with it, that the silent majority of people will click on and say, thank you, somebody gets it. Somebody understands that the gator bait stuff is stupid. Somebody understands these things, and it speaks to you. Like, Barstool's got its audience, and they've built this behemoth. Like, if I look at what Clay is doing over at Outkick, right? If I'm looking at what they're building, I would say do like they're doing with Barstool. They've got a whole brand of podcasts, whether it be Kirk Minihane now, although his thing comes on and off multiple times. I don't know. But they've got the ones with the gals on it. What's that one called? Call Her Daddy podcast, which is like one of the top 5 podcasts in the country. They have got their kind of flagship podcast. Pardon my take. I can see a situation where Clay would do something like that. Like, I think potentially you're talking about a site that can do what Barstool does, but a different kind of slant on it. Not as much of bro and tits and ass and all that, but equally as counterculture, equally as in your face, equally as brash. And I think they could do something. I love what they're doing. I appreciate the guys like Whitlock. Now, in his defense, or I don't want to blow him here, but with Whitlock, he also has made probably a pretty good living on Fox the last couple of years. So financially, he's probably not hurting. Doesn't seem like a guy who spins stupid. He was making millions. I don't know how many millions, but he was making a shit ton of money as one of the faces of Fox Sports 1. So he wasn't hurting. He's got money. So he takes a chance on this kind of site. And as long as they don't allow themselves to be bogged down by sponsorships or sponsors that try to control the content, as long as they are free opinions, as long as they are okay to do what they want to do, they could be just absurdly financially successful. They could be absurd. This is needed. It's the anti-ESPN. It's the anti-Fox Sports. It's the anti-every other kind of mainstream follow the leader type of media. It's huge. That's why I think that this type of show would fit on there. If they ever want to create a podcast network, if they ever want to have those types of real talk kind of, we're talking football, which really is the ultimate goal of this podcast, is to be kind of an SEC football, NFL football, and shut down the pussies type of talk. If that's what they're looking for and to build a network of podcasts like that under the Outkick umbrella, well, then there'd be no doubt that this podcast would fit on there, and I think that'd be great.
I think so, too.
What do you think of Pat McAfee? I despise Pat McAfee as a television analyst. I've never listened to his talk show, so I couldn't tell you. But as an analyst on games, I feel like he's trying so hard to be funny and do stand-up, and it's dreadful.
People seem to love him, though.
That's fine. Listen, different strokes for different folks. You know, some people are stupid. I mean, that's fine. As a game analyst, I find him to be trying too hard. Maybe his talk show is good. I've never heard it, so I couldn't tell you. I've heard like little tiny pieces, but I haven't listened to it long form enough to go like, okay, I get that. But I've heard the clips of it, and it's fine. But the television analyst part of it's terrible.
Speaking of Barstool, they did have a good story tonight.
Yep.
About some chick who I guess is like the most popular of the OAN chicks.
Uh-huh.
Wearing an Oklahoma State shirt.
Strong.
Very strong.
That is a strong retort from OAN getting shut down by Oklahoma State. So what do? They send this hot-ass chick out there with an OAN T-shirt.
So she was live from the Trump rally.
God, that is brilliant.
Doing her live shots wearing the OSU shirt. It was fantastic.
Brilliant.
Very, very good. Good move on her part.
I see Tom Petty's family went ape shit because Trump used "won't back down" during his rally in Tulsa. Any thoughts? If they want to be mad about it, be mad about it. And if they, I guess they can legally tell someone not to use music or say, hey, I don't want you using my music for whatever.
My guess is LG is not mad about it.
No, I'll guarantee you one damn thing. LG is all about that life. When I'm watching that tonight and I hear LG, when they crank up a little God Bless the USA, and Trump's walking out pointing, and bam, let me tell you, man.
The fist pump.
It was on tonight.
And all I thought about was John Cassio.
Oh, Cassio had to be thrilled. And I texted him. I don't even know if he was watching it. That's like his area right there. That's like Trump and LG. That's John Cassio town right there, man. I thought he was going to rock that.
Well, I mean, unless his wife's having a baby, he has no excuse. No excuse.
Yeah. You guys watched the rally? Why wouldn't I watch the rally? Why do you think we didn't come on until 9 o'clock today?
Love him or hate him, he's an entertaining son of a bitch.
I was entertained. I'm like the whole, like it got kind of dull at the last half hour. It kind of lost my attention. Like timing matters and length of these things matters, right? So like if like keep it to like an hour. You know, there was a couple of times in there I'm like, dude, you're just kind of losing me here. And there was a lot of shit that was kind of pointless.
You mean the giant story about buying the plane?
That was 100% pointless. Like at that point, like nobody can relate to that. It's just like, okay, and I get that he was trying to get to an anecdote about how he can negotiate and didn't really do anything for me. I dug the story about, doing like the kind of F you by drinking the water. He takes a long time to tell the story to get to the punchline, to get to the hook, which is drinking the water. But I think that served its purpose.
Throwing the glass
I love served its purpose.
By the way, I love like all these bands and celebrities and stuff who are like, I sold that place out. I could have done 4 nights there. Okay, well, you couldn't do 4 nights there during a pandemic.
Yes.
And again, maybe it is stupid that he's having this rally during a pandemic. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But to say, like, Pink was the one I just saw who tweeted it, like, I sold that place out in 5 minutes. You couldn't sell it out now.
Oh, shut up,
It's a little
Pink.
different situation. I don't think Pink would sell that place out in 5 minutes right now with these times.
Can you imagine if Pink just today was like, we're having a concert today? Like, it's really easy. Like, I saw a buddy of mine, Demir, who bless his heart on Facebook sometimes. But Demir posts a picture of an Obama rally in St. Louis X amount of years ago. It's like 100,000 people were at this. And I'm like, again, Demir, it's not exactly apples to apples.
It is a different these times, as they always say.
It was a weak turnout. It was a weak turnout, especially after the way it was hyped up. It was certainly a weak turnout. Okay, so that's clear. But I'm talking shit like I could have filled that place up. Well, good for you, Pink. I'm glad you could fill that place up. Good for you.
I saw someone tweet about how Puddle of Mud would have more people. I don't know that they would. I think Puddle of Mud might sell out like, a bar.
Maybe. It will certainly in Pennsylvania.
Oh, they'd crush in Pennsylvania.
It's hard for me to admit, but Trump has aged at least a decade in the last 3 or 4 years. He's getting tired. Well, if he's getting tired, here's an idea, M.W. Soulgrove, and I know that's your guy. Here's an idea. Don't do a 2-hour rally, which about 45 minutes of it was useless fluff. Get in, get to the point, get the crowd hyped, drop the bombs on them, give them the hot stuff, give them the feeding frenzy stuff, and then get the hell out on a high note. There were a couple of lulls in there, and that thing probably could have ended 40 minutes before it actually ended. And if they would have done that, then I think it could have been a different story, and we would have left a little bit. Like, you always want to leave people wanting more. You don't want to leave people looking at their watches and their phones going, okay. It's the same thing with a radio bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been guilty of it at times. I let a radio bit go too long. I let the bit go too long on 97.5 the other day with the guy, with the redneck dude arguing with the black guy. I let it go too long, and you look back on it and you go, okay, I messed that one up. But I watched that tonight, and I think there were some points in there that Trump really crushed it. And there were some other points in there where Trump was really kind of long-winded and boring and drawn out, and it just kind of, it was kind of, So I think overall it wasn't terrible, but it could have been better.
And that being said, knowing very little about politics, speaking for myself, I just can't imagine him and Biden in a debate because Trump just brings the ruckus.
Oh, no, Biden has no chance. Biden has zero chance. Basically, here's what Biden needs to do. Biden, whenever they have a debate, Biden's going to have to really be selective with his punches, and he's going to need to have Trump hang himself. Because if it comes down to just a straight up tit for tat debate, Biden has zero chance in hell in a debate.
But they're trying not
Trump.
To have a debate, right? Like they're trying to be like, oh, we can't get this many people together, and
they're going to have a
and,
debate.
If
they're going to put however many people were in that place tonight, they can have a debate, okay? And they're going to have a debate. Here's the issue you run into if you're Biden. Biden is clearly slow on the uptake. It's almost sad to watch him. So what's going to have he's going to have to be like a rope-a-dope kind of, right? Like he's going to have to lure Trump in by doing very little and then get him up against the ropes, and he's going to have to be selective in his punches. It's like basically, imagine you're facing like Randy Johnson, and he's tossing out like 105-mile-an-hour fastball or something at you, and you know that you might get one shot at one. So, like, let's say Johnson comes up there and you know he can pump it up at 98, 99, but he drops a slider on your ass to start. Don't whiff at that slider out of the zone. You got to be disciplined. Like, if you're going to be Biden in this thing, if Biden's going to have any chance in any debate against Trump, you have to be selective and you have to wait for your pitch. And when your pitch is there, you have to hit a home run every time. Not singles, not doubles, because this is not a guy. He's not Pete Rose. He's not going to have 4,500 hits. He's going to have a chance for 1 or 2 hits maybe, and then he's got to let the pitcher make a mistake. And in this case, it would be letting Trump make a mistake, because if it's straight up debate, he has no chance. He has 0 chance in that. So it's going to have to be one of those type of deals. And Biden is like, ugh, and who knows how bad off he's going to be by, September and October. Can't be fouling off hanging sliders. Exactly, Chupito. That can't be what he does. Now, R. Winter says he's going to strike out on 3 pitches. More than likely, yes. But he's going to have to avoid striking out. At least work a full count. At least do that. If he can work a full count, he might have a chance for a mistake. Then you foul out. You got to spoil a couple of pitches in there. And really, Biden, it's going to have to be a more with less type of thing with Biden. Like, if you're Biden in this, Biden's going to have to, again, if you're Biden, the less you can talk, the better. Because as we've seen with Trump has no issue talking. Trump, I could argue, could benefit also from scaling back a bit. Problem with Trump is Trump gets his pitch and he'll hit a home run. But then when he hits here's Trump. Let's use a basketball analogy. Trump will hit a 3, and then Trump will follow that up with like 4 or 5 bricks in a row from 3, getting cocky, and he doesn't stop. And that's Trump's problem. If Trump would scale it back, hit the home run and let it go, get the dunk and let it go, I think that would be better for Trump. And in terms of Biden, just literally shut the fuck up and strike when you can. Lay in the grass, coiled up and hissing, ready to jump. When you get that shot, take advantage of it. Let me see if Andy wants to join tonight, or at least get in the chat, because Andy and I, let's see, jump on my Twitch. Boy, that sounds sexual. Jump on my Twitch. We are talking, because remember this, people don't know this about Andy, but Andy's been in politics. Like, after he got out of radio the first time, Andy was like the campaign director or the speechwriter. I forgot exactly what he was for some congressman. Andy's a political junkie.
Also, completely unrelated, DJ Grooves just posted a simple instructional video on how to request a song and be on the radio tonight. You haven't requested a song with DJ Grooves in a while, and that's always fun.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to do that. Let me tweet out a link.
You can watch the video on how to do it if you need, pointers.
I know. I'm going to have to do that. Let's see here. Let's go with this. Let's see if this will get some people over here tonight. We are live on Twitch talking about Trump's rally. Like, when it comes to a debate, Biden is not going to have a chance in hell. We are discussing right now. See if people join us that way. God, what's really annoying, though, is, among other things, but really annoying is, like, the people, like, there are people that I've known in my past that are now kind of reformed people in some way that used to be kind of whatever, and now they're like hardcore, like left-wing, woke, whatever you want to call them.
Oh, yeah.
And no matter what I post, like today, I forgot what I posted that got the dander up on this dude that I've known for a long time. I forgot exactly what he responded to me. Oh, it was the Joe Rogan tweet that I said that I like Joe Rogan and Clay Travis and these kind of guys. And he drops do you think it's kind of problematic that the people you like have largely uneducated white male fan bases? And I was like, I didn't respond because I've muted the guy. I only saw it because he responded to someone who responded to it, so I viewed the muted tweet. And I so badly wanted to respond. I didn't because it wasn't worth my time because you're not going to win with dopes like this. So there's no point in fighting.
No, because all they do is argue back and forth.
And they argue with no logic. Like, just say, like, I seriously doubt that like, the people, that the majority of people who like Joe Rogan are just uneducated white dudes. Like, that's the same argument they used to use with Stern before Stern became woke. The argument was, well, his is just uneducated racists and blah, 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 blah. Trust me, now looking at all the people who love Trump now, all the liberals and all the media people and all the actors, I assure you Trump had a lot of, or not Trump, but Stern had a lot of rich, affluent people listening to him, just like Joe Rogan has many, many rich, affluent people. But what's funny is, I look at this guy's profile, and in his profile, it says he works for NASCAR Radio on XM, and I'm like, I could go back at you and say, what's it like covering a sport that's mostly watched by redneck, uneducated white people? Do you think that's problematic? Like, I'd like to know which audience he or who has a more affluent audience, NASCAR or Joe Rogan?
But you also forget now NASCAR's woke.
Well, of course.
And that's the argument you would get. He's like, well, NASCAR.
Yeah, because NASCAR has one black driver, and NASCAR has, they've torn down the Confederate flag. So, oh boy, everything is fine now with NASCAR. And I don't have a problem with NASCAR. It's just funny to call Joe Rogan's audience basically racist white dudes and Clay Travis's audience racist white dudes, and then asking if I have a problem with that. No, I don't have a problem with who his audience is because I don't believe that audience is largely racist. And let's say it is largely white people in this. I don't give a fuck who listens to a show. Like, I don't pick the audience I don't pick a show I listen to based on, there's about 85% white guys listening to this show. So, I don't think I can listen to this. I'm sorry. Like, who does that? Like, I'm fascinated by people who are just out of their fucking minds, man. But anyway, back to tonight. So, first of all, let me finish this impeachment IPA from Legal Draft Beer Company in Arlington. Hold on. Okay, that wasn't bad, but
not the greatest.
The thing about these beers that's going to be dangerous is that's like a 6.5%. That went down easy. Which one do we go with next? What's the Gissen audience? Largely Hispanics? No, I would say are probably predominantly white and Hispanic. I think that's fair. If you are a black member of Gist Nation, stand up and be counted. Joe Rogan sold out, though. How did Joe Rogan sell out? Because he made money? Who's he sold out to? That's the other funny thing about anybody who starts making money. Like, let's say this podcast gets picked up by a big podcast network or something. You know what the argument's going to be? Hey, you sold out. You sold out. All right, let's see what we're going to go with next. Maybe I'll go with this Founders. Gama's here. Hey, Gama, how are you?
Hi, Gama.
He was bought by Spotify. Is that selling out?
I think that's making money. I think making money and selling out are two different things.
Yes.
What's this one about? Is there a story?
This is Founders Unraveled IPA. It's a juicy India Pale Ale. There is no story. But it is 6.6%. This is kind of in my wheelhouse. Josh Ennis wants to sell out. Josh Ennis is for sale. Thank you, Andy. That's what I'm saying here, Andy. As everybody, by the way, that's Mr. B in there. That is Andy Bloom, everybody.
Hello, Andy.
And he is right. Who wouldn't want to? Like any asshole that would be like, Joe Rogan sold out. Here's the difference. Joe Rogan's getting $100 million, but also Joe Rogan, and at least as of right now, his core principles are still in place. Like Howard Stern sold the hell out, and he went away from all of his core principles. But let's do this. So back to, and I'm sure Andy would have some thoughts on what he saw tonight. My main takeaway, though, tonight from watching Trump was this, that Trump goes a little too long. I say a little bit. It could have been 45 minutes. Like, to me, like, here's where I think Trump gets himself in trouble, too, is Trump loves being on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And again, he's got a captive audience. I don't know what anybody else is watching tonight. What's on TV tonight that people will watch?
I think there's some UFC.
So that's kind of a 2-hour plus free commercial for Trump on all these networks, right? So So that's why he does it. But I think he could have been more impactful.
But did all the networks actually air Trump?
Well, I don't know that Trump was on was he on ABC,
yeah,
CBS?
Like,
I don't think
doubt
so.
That.
No, but he was on the cable news networks, right? So if the cable news networks, that's the audience, it's a captive audience there. So I understand why you want to filibuster and occupy 2 hours of time because you own it. That's what he did during all of the Rona press conferences. Those Rona press conferences could have been 20 minutes. They would go 2 hours because he had the opportunity to make that a political thing and make that basically a rally. If he would have gone like an hour tonight and hit all the main points, if I were his speech writer, I'm like, all right, and again, you can write all the speeches you want, but he's going to go off on his own tangents, and that's what he does. I'm saying, Trump, if you're going to tell this ridiculously pointless anecdote about the Air Force One, make it 2 minutes and get out of it. It's just an example to show, to see the opportunity to show that he's a great not a great debater, but a great bargainer, negotiator. Fine, that could have been gone.
How long do you think he rehearsed the going down the ramp skit?
I don't think he rehearses anything. He is a very good orator. Now, and that his problem is he goes off on tangents and sometimes loses his focus. But he's a fine orator. Like even the story he was telling about the ramp, you could argue, I understand why you tell the story. But I think it could have been just as impactful if he doesn't tell the story for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if he just goes, well, they think that I couldn't stand up. Well, let me tell you, they were making fun of the way I drink, all that. And he picks up the glass, chugs the water, throws the water down on the ground and says, let's rock. Hell, you know what he should have done is Stone Cold Steve Austin that thing and cracked open a beer, slapped them together, and done this action right here, and then we would have seen something.
Well, but then he would have ruined his silk tie.
Mr. B says, I think he thinks things through. I think he's much like Josh in terms of prep. Exactly. He knows what he wants to do. He has an idea of what he wants to do, but he's not prepared.
It is funny because watching that, I did think that a lot. I'm like, wow, this is like Josh. This is exactly if Josh was the president, what it would sound like.
And listen, and he gets his digs in on Biden. He's got the nicknames, the Sleepy Joe. He gets to all of his main points, his core points there. If he eliminates 40 minutes out of that, if it's $1.10, I'll ask Andy this, because Andy's in the chat, right? What's more impactful? Is it more impactful to have a tight hour and 10 that's rocking and rolling and the crowd's into it? Or is it more important to just occupy television time for 2 hours?
Well, that or maybe he feels like he wants to give the people that came out there's
no. I don't think he gives a shit.
Money's worth.
No, I don't think he gives. You could still get your money's worth in an hour of good, entertaining stuff. I think by the end of it, I don't think the people there thought they got their money's worth because you can even see the people on their phones and kind of fading a little bit. And I'll ask Andy that. What is more important? To get an hour to an hour and 10 of all your hard points, get the digs in on Biden, get the crowd behind you, or 2 hours of just occupying cable news television as a giant commercial? And Andy says, I think he needs to be tight, but you've been air checked by me. And I said that earlier I'm guilty of that a lot. You let a bit go too long and then it loses its impact. You want to leave them wanting more. And I don't think he left them wanting more. I think he left them kind of relieved that it was over. I think that was the biggest issue that you ran into there with Trump, is by the end of it, it was just kind of, okay, great. Because early on, and it might be because I was drinking a little heavily at the beginning, but I'm at the beginning of this thing going yeah, every time he'd say something, I'm like, yeah, go Trump, woo, because I'm hammered, By the end of it, I had somewhat sobered up, and I'm like,
but even after, it was your first beer you were into it, so you weren't hammered.
Well, no, because he knows how to hold an audience captive. He's amazing at that. Even that story, I was texting Andy during this thing, and I go, even the story about, and I know why he told the story about the slipping on the ramp and all that shit. I know why he told that story, and I get why he did it, and I think it was important. It was, maybe and Andy, you can probably speak better to this than I can, but it's kind of like when Reagan was accused of being too old, and they said, well, the age issue, how do you feel about that? And he goes, I will not hold my opponent's inexperience against him. And it was kind of the big thing that won Reagan his second term. I think that's kind of what they were going for there, kind of that, oh, you guys think I have Parkinson's? You think I'm too old? You think I'm slipping? Well, he drinks the water, throws it on the ground. I get what he's trying to accomplish with that. And it's smart. I just think it took him way too damn long to get to the point of it. It shouldn't have taken 15 minutes to get to that. Now, I'll say this about the 15 minutes. I was entertained in the 15 minutes. It was the storytelling was good. It was fine. I just don't think it was necessary. That's all. And me and Andy are both still trying to figure out why it was such a big deal to spend 15 minutes talking about Boeing, other than the fact that they're just a big American company that he's going to bail out. And Andy, I think you're right here. Let me ask you this, Andy. Here's a good one. Should he have ended with the Make America Strong Again, like he did, Make America Great, which is his thing, so he kind of has to end it that way. But maybe in that one, the throwing the water, which is the mic drop, maybe he tells that story at the end going into the Make America Great Again. So maybe he, instead of telling that story 50 minutes into it or whenever he did it, maybe that's where it all should have ended. Maybe that was the end of it, because I don't know that he got into anything after that you were like, okay, this is something I need to know. So you end it with that. You throw down the glass, or you do the Make America Strong Again, whatever. You take the drink and we're Make America Great Again. Chug the water. Throw the glass down. Double birds to all these motherfuckers. I'm out of here. Maybe that's the answer. See, this is why I'm glad Andy's here. You lead with your strongest punch. Do you agree that that was his strongest punch? And if that was his strongest punch, does he start the whole thing with that? Is that what you do? Josh, super happy to see you on Twitch. Thank you, the ocean above. Thank you. Slick Mac says he's drunk. Well, welcome to the party.
Oh, yeah,
friend.
we haven't asked what everybody's drinking tonight.
Let us know what you're drinking,
Too much
everybody.
politics right now. That's the important things here. What are you guys drinking?
And have you purchased your Gist Nation shirts?
We also have that wacky Trump lady audio. Speaking of, wash your hands, kiss guy.
God, we haven't. Oh, I forgot we haven't played that yet, dude. There's this, and it was on Facebook, and I got to try to post the video. I pull the video up on here so you guys can see it. But
we have.
There's this guy dressed as Paul Stanley who's standing out in front of someone's house with a sign that says "Wash your hands." And he's trying to talk like Paul Stanley. It's fantastic.
I sent it to you, and I knew when you didn't respond to me, I'm like, he didn't watch this, because I knew you would just be tickled beyond belief by this.
Let me see here. Hold on.
I knew you would not. It's in your email.
I know that. I know. I just got to make sure I can pull this up so we can see it. But when I tell you, this is spectacular stuff here. It's a dude dressed as Paul Stanley. I could just play the audio, but I don't think that will do it enough justice, because the video makes it. It's just this whacked out dude dressed as Paul Stanley. And where did we find this? Was in Washington State?
I think it's Washington State. That's where the guy who posted the video is from. I think it's his video.
Okay. All right, let me see
Tacoma,
here if I can
I believe.
If I can find this here. Hold on. Oops. Oh, hold on. Let me see here.
It's so good.
Let me see here. Launch another one of these here in a second so I can pull this up so everybody can see it. Let me make sure I get the right thing on here. Okay, hold on. Let me get rid of something on this one. This is from yesterday's show. Let me delete a few of these things. All right, we're going to remove. Yes. That's, by the way, that picture right there is a picture of Jimmy Garoppolo as a woman, which was the big thing on the internet yesterday. Jimmy Garoppolo as a woman is a 9.5 and is hotter than the vast majority of women in this country. Joe Burrow as a woman looks like Tanya Harding's cousin.
Or teacher that gets busted for sleeping with students.
In Kentucky. Yes, I would agree with that. All right, let me see here. I got to get this thing pulled up for everybody because this is it's just too damn good to not watch the video. All right, so let me remove these here for everybody. Remove. All right, remove. Hold on here, because I totally forgot that we were going to do this today.
Yes, we have to play this.
Hold on a second. Let me find
But this is fine. It's a Saturday show. It doesn't have to be as, tight and put together here.
Correct. You're absolutely right, Jilly. Way to bring the heat. All right, let me see if I got this right. Let me find the right website. See if I get the right website on this one. All right, here we go. All right.
Does it work?
I think. Hold on a second. Let me get this, and then let me try to make this a little bit bigger. Talk amongst yourselves, guys. I'm gonna get this solved for you because I totally forgot about this. But
It's so good.
but it's totally worth seeing. So hold on.
And I think the visual is key.
The visual is key. If you haven't seen this, it's spectacular. All right, we're gonna go right. There we go. Let's go about 400. Right. Okay, that should.
I think you can also, can't you expand the video on the first post and then post it?
But this should be fine.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Close and then.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Okay.
Okay. So let me get this pulled up so everybody.
And it
can
really
see
gets going about 20 seconds in, so bear
All right.
with it.
So here we go. This is a guy outside of some dude's house. He's dressed as Paul Stanley, trying to tell people to wash their hands. Here we go.
And again, this guy just notices it at first, so he starts recording.
Now watch it. It gets better.
What the fuck, dog?
Now he comes over. This is where it gets good.
Hell yeah!
You get that thing into the world tour one more time.
Fuck yeah!
Put our friend over here. All right, I wonder if you heard our little discussion. Who am I?
Wash your hands, man. Fucking Kiss.
What? Which band am I in?
Kiss.
Okay, what's my name?
Gene Simmons.
Keith, God damn it, you people!
I don't fucking like
Oh,
Kiss.
Stanley,
I don't like.
brother, I was made for loving you hotter than hell. Simmons, you're a fool. You look like a junkie like Peter Chris or Ace Frehley. Get out of my face, people. Oh yeah, wash your hands. The CDC says 20 seconds, but you know what I do? I do 60 seconds on each hand. Yeah, scrub up. Woo!
Wash your hands.
What?
How many seconds? 20 seconds, right?
I already said it 2 times, baby. And if you don't remember that, go ask your papa.
My fucking god, dude.
Is it the greatest?
Oh, here it goes. Scrubber!
Gene says, God damn it, you people! That's my favorite. Just like breaks the sign.
He throws his sign down. Oh, I know who you are. You're Gene Simmons. God damn it! Who am I? What band am I in?
Did you send this to Jim?
I did.
Was he
Simmons.
tickled?
Yep.
God damn it, you people!
I don't fucking like Kiss.
Stanley,
I don't like.
brother, I was made for loving you hotter than hell. Simmons, you're a fool. You look like a junkie like Peter Chris or Ace Frehley. Get out of my face, people.
I just
Oh
love
yeah,
it.
what? God damn it!
Who am I? And the other part that's really great is how he walks over and he kind of does this kind of slinky, like, hey, I'll give him credit. It's a slinky Paul Stanley run that he's got
Fuck
here.
yeah!
Put our friend over here.
Watch the run.
All right, I wonder if you heard our little discussion. Who am I?
Wash your hands, man.
Well, that's why he's
Fucking
like, obviously
Kiss.
should have known I'm Paul Stanley.
Band am I in?
Kiss.
Okay, what's my name?
Gene Simmons.
Keith, God damn it, you people!
I don't fucking like
Oh,
Kiss.
Stanley,
I don't like.
brother, I was made for loving you hotter than hell. Gene Simmons, you're a fool. You look like a junkie like Peter Chris or Ace Frehley.
Oh, shit. It's just spectacular. Oh, God.
See, sometimes links I send you are worth clicking on.
Then there's another one. Hold on. There's another video of a woman at a city council meeting.
Which
that's-
we love. This reminds me of the, what was the woman? The Portillos.
Oh,
I don't
God.
even have Facebook. What was it?
Oh,
Oh, my God.
oh,
She was so good.
Her whole bit was like I don't have Facebook.
And I don't have a job.
Are you going to
Hold on, let me get you the actual video of this gal too. Let's see if I can pull this up. Hold on. So let me see if I can get this going back now. Hold on. Strata.
Damn it. Now I have to find that original city council video, too.
All right, hold on. Let me make sure I got the right thing pulled up here. Hold on. Okay, that's not the one I want. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get rid of Paul Stanley here, who's fantastic, by the way. All right, let me see here. Hold on. One of these days we'll be so well off on this show that we will have people doing this for us. But today is not that day. All right, let me see here. Window capture. Okay. Let's go with I don't need wash your hand. I already had wash your hands guy. Hold on. There we go. Let's go to this one now. Hold on. All right, let's find this lady. Where the hell did the lady go? Safari. Oh, wow. Let me try it again. Hold on. Dadgummit to hell. I'm going to get it for you. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. A new one. Where's the lady? Okay. Deborah Baber is her name. All right. Let's pull this down here. I do give myself some level of credit. I'm starting to kind of figure things out. Just I should have thought about this before we got things moving.
Well, you were all riled up with the Trump thing and the beers.
Yeah, it was the Trump show, and I was all locked into the Trump show. So you guys can respect the fact that I was locked in.
I also sent you Portillo's lady if you'd like it for later.
All right, well, that could be something we'll get into then.
Because I miss her.
All right, let me see here. Hold on. Hotter than hell. All right, let's see here.
You people, god damn it.
Jeez, I'm Paul Stanley. All right, here we go. Here's this woman. Good, that didn't take long. All right, here we go. This woman is at a Ventura County Board of Supervisors meeting.
And just look at her.
Protesting a face mask requirement. Here we go.
Are you going to be wearing masks when you come in? Are you going to obey that city? And if not, then how in the world are you expecting any of us to obey anything that you say? I protest face coverings. I am a healthy American. I used to be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks. I am not into sadomasochism and bondage. I am not a burglar. I am not a pandering politician like we see here and here and here and here. I am a proud Trump Republican yearning to be free again. Who are you, victim or victor? If you are offended by anything I have said, by the masses of people, then I am offended by the masses of people who do not question your wholesale slaughter of our constitutional and inalienable rights. Shame on all of you. Let liberty ring. God bless America, land that I love.
I don't want to spoil it, but she's going to mess up the lyrics.
Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the oceans to the prairies to the mountains, white with foam.
No.
God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home.
Hit that bell.
Sweet home. Let liberty ring.
Thank you for your comments.
And it's Baber.
Thank
Deborah Baber.
Thank you very much.
You should know that.
The next item.
And it's Baber.
You know, here's where I can respect this, okay?
It's Baber.
Here's where I respect this at least a little bit. Because I respect people who are willing to step up and tell you what they believe is right and what is wrong, right? I can respect that. I can respect this from Deborah Baber. Good for Deborah Baber. Now, she completely butchered the lyrics of God Bless America, which really kind of hurts her case a little bit. But, you know what? So it's weird. And this is where I kind of creep myself out a little bit. Like, I watch stuff like this, and I'm kind of like, you know what? I agree.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh, shit. Well, no,
Lord.
she's not. Well, hold on now, just to be fair.
But do you think like she suffered from the things like Trump suffered from? Like she should have got in and got out? Like
No, she was only in for 2 minutes. It seemed longer than 2 minutes, but she got her point. This is her opportunity to get her point across.
As I said, I would like her and Portillo's lady to debate.
I do like the fact, and Joe brought this up and you brought this up, that just like they don't respond and they just kind of go,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. And my name is Baber.
It's Baber.
It's Baber, asshole. And don't you forget it, you sons of bitches. It's Baber. But like I do find myself getting a little bit wackier kind of as time goes on. Like yesterday I tweeted about how I don't mind wearing a mask, right? I don't mind wearing gloves or whatever. If it makes people feel safe and we're safer and whatever, like I'm all fine with it. It's the fact that we've got politicians who are forcing us to do it and forcing businesses to force you to wear masks in their place.
Well, now you have to wear a mask just to go pick up Luther from his
and
daycare.
that's their choice.
It's
but
not their choice. They're forced to do it.
And that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't like the fact, like, I'm uncomfortable, not just with that, but I think the part that I'm uncomfortable with the most and the part that kind of scares me the most is how willingly people are just ready to bend over for, government.
Well, because then it's helping. They're like, oh, they care about
Because they're all
us.
full of shit. Because these people are idiots. And we see the people who are idiots online all the damn time, right? Like, it's like if you're saying, like, I'm glad that we're wearing masks, that's one thing. But if you're like, way to go, Lena Hidalgo, thank you. Like, people celebrate this
Thank
shit
you for
like a
caring
sport.
about us.
Like, they're
Yeah,
celebrating
they
it
do.
like it's a sports championship that we're being basically told that we are having our rights taken away from us. Like, that's got to kind of bother you. It bothers me more by the fact that people celebrate this like they won something. It's like they want shit taken away from them.
Well,
I'm the complete opposite. Don't take shit away from me, motherfucker. I want to have as much as I can.
The thing I've seen the most online is like, well, you wear a seatbelt. The government makes you wear a seatbelt. You don't have a problem with that.
Some people do. Some people don't wear a seatbelt. And you know what? I don't think we should be, it should not be a law to wear a seatbelt. Especially because the only person, now again, if you're driving a car and your kid's in a car, I think it's a different thing. But if you're driving a car and you don't wear a seatbelt and you get in a wreck and you end up dead, you're the only person impacted by that in theory. You died and that's that.
Well, your family.
Well, yes, it sucks for them. But you're like, if you get in a wreck with someone, you're not wearing a seatbelt. They are. The chances are they have a better chance of surviving than you did in that case. Like, you're not immediately endangering somebody else by you not wearing the seatbelt. I don't know. I don't know what this means about me. Andy and I have this discussion all the time about like, hey, what does this say about me? What am I becoming? What am I evolving into? What am I now? Like, because I don't view myself as some sort of Republican or a conservative or whatever. I am just someone who believes that I want as little government interference in my life as possible. That's all I want. Don't mess with me. And if you do that, if you take less away from me, I'll be fine. But like, I'm scared by the number of people who are just so down with giving things up to politicians and the government. It bothers me. And as I get older, I think these kind of things start to bother me even more.
Also, what is your review on this beer? You haven't told us.
What was that? Oh, sorry. This one's fine.
So another just fine.
It's not bad. I mean, it was pretty good, but like I liked it better than Impeachment IPA.
Okay.
Let's see. That's what Shapiro says too, Josh. I've never really listened to Ben Shapiro. I know that his podcast does extremely well. But I would lean towards the fact like that Shapiro is like a hardcore conservative dude. I don't view myself as a conservative dude. I just view myself as a dude who has thoughts, and some of them lean more towards the right than the left. Any guests tonight? Not yet, but the night is young. Who knows? I don't know what direction things will go. These things are hard to say.
Gru posted a good meme in response to me saying, you're encouraging Josh. So you may just have to request
What do you mean I'm
songs.
encouraging? Oh, to do
Well,
the...
I haven't listened to the video, but it's
Yep.
about how to request a song and how to get on the radio.
Oh, I see.
So I said, well, Josh, and Gru said, Tiger King guy.
Oh, did I encourage him from time to time? Probably. I think that's where Trump also missed the boat, was not like getting Joe Exotic out of jail.
That was my joke.
And I know that, and I agreed with it, so I can steal it since I agreed with it. You didn't use it.
You took my joke.
I did. Well, first of all, I restructured the joke, friend, and I used it. If you're not going to use it, it's not even a joke at that point. It's just a thought in your head.
It wasn't
I
a thought
used
in my
it.
head. I told it to you.
Let's call Jim. Well, Jim is not available tonight. It's his dad's birthday.
Although we could have called Jim because we had a pizza delivery experience tonight.
Yeah, this guy brought us the wrong pizzas.
Wrong order.
Yep. So then
we
we
ended
had
up with like 5 pizzas.
yeah.
It wasn't horrible.
It was a fat night. It's a fat night.
And you somehow scored 2 brownie cookies.
Yeah, those are good.
That was the one part of the order they got right the first time.
Yep.
And so you're like, yeah, my whole order was wrong. And so they brought us another brownie cookie.
Yeah. I just like how people just suggest that we call people like, hey, call this guy. Call this guy.
Carrie says that Ben Shapiro is conservative, but he's also libertarian. I think Josh would like his show.
Well, how about that? Thanks, Carrie. Of
Carrie
course.
and Aaron bought T-shirts, by the way, so shout out to them.
Hey. Have you bought your T-shirts yet? I told you some of them have been shipped out. There's a couple more that need to go out on Monday.
They're very comfortable.
I'm wearing one right now. This is the black one, of course. These they look really good.
I know. I want to see the white one.
Well, I'll see if they'll get you one.
Okay, so we're done with that beer. Now
All right.
what?
Well, let's try one here. Let's see.
Now what? Now what?
I will go with Platypus Brewing Out of Orbit Hazy IPA.
Now actually zip that up so the things stay cold. You don't ever zip.
I just zipped it up last time.
No, I zipped it up last
No, it
time
was zipped up when-
because I zipped it.
Oh boy, aren't you just so fancy?
Yeah,
huh?
I am. Does that one have a story?
This one says the seasonal release from Platypus Brewing at 7%, brewed with Texan heart and Australian soul. But there's no story. Sold 100 shirts yet? We're pretty close to 100 shirts sold, which is pretty impressive. I think for just our
No,
little
that's-
podcast we have here,
that's
it's pretty
great.
impressive. I think for this little podcast we should be very proud of that. That's not bad either. This might be better than the other two.
So far we
It's
like
a little bit brighter of a flavor.
Oh, brighter.
Yeah.
So far we like Platypus Out of Orbit, which is a hazy IPA.
I like this one. Yeah.
A couple weeks we're going to Louisiana. We get to sample all the Louisiana beers.
And I got a Louisiana beer in there from Parish Beer Brewing. Is Andy still in the chat? I haven't heard from Andy in a while. Maybe we should just get Andy on the phone and have him break down politics. Josh, you love your IPAs now. I mean, I enjoy them, but I mean, I don't really look at whether it's an IPA or whatever. I just listen to what sounds good, you know.
But you like a juicy IPA. Obviously, the St. Arnold Juicy you love.
I do.
Obviously, a hazy IPA does okay.
Well, this is pretty good.
I like the Session IPA. That's what Wolf Pup is, right?
Yeah.
And whatever blueberry wheat. I'm drinking
Let's
blueberry
see. You're a libertarian, but just don't know it. You were me a decade ago. Andy, so let me ask Andy, who is still in the chat. Andy, do you find me to be a libertarian? There goes Jilly. She's off. Jilly's going. She'll be back. Jilly will be back. See there, but here's the question now. Here's the question. Am I a libertarian? Do you think, because I'm certainly, but here's the problem. Like, so Andy, you say I'm a libertarian. What's the point of being libertarian? You'll never win, right? Like what is the point of even having the Libertarian Party? Because I would bet, and tell me if you think I'm wrong here, but if there's, how many people are of voting age in this country? A couple 100 million people are of voting age in this country, probably, and the Libertarian never has a chance to win. So what the hell's the point of voting for the Libertarian? It's like rooting for the Florida Marlins. And not even when they were like good every other, couple of years. I'm talking about the current day Florida Marlins. It's like rooting for a team that the Browns, who never has a shot to win. Then what the hell's the point? Like, this is the debate I have with myself often, which is, what do I want to do? Should I register to vote? Should I vote? Should I vote? Well, let's say I wanted to vote for the Libertarian. Then what the hell's the point? You lose. You're a loser. America really comes down to two choices, Coke or Pepsi. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy RC Cola or Sam's Choice every now and then. First of all, there ain't one human on the planet that enjoys RC Cola. It just tastes like flat Coke. But Sam's Choice is good. Sam's Choice isn't fair because Sam's Choice is just a knockoff Coca-Cola. RC Cola is boring and flat and gross. Republicans are made up of people like us who are fiscal conservatives and socially liberal mixed with evangelical Christians. Well, I guess that's what I have to be then if I were to vote. I'm sticking with the lawnmower and the kill. Loving some Saturday Night Gist. Thank you, Dave's Not Here Man 713. Like, basically, if I were forced to vote and they said you had to vote for somebody, I would vote for the Republican. Although it would depend on the thing. Like, if it were right now and they said you had to vote for Trump or Biden, I couldn't get myself to vote for Biden if I were forced to vote for someone. Because Biden seems really off. Now, Trump, you can say, is crazy and blah, blah, blah. Biden doesn't seem healthy. He seems off, man. When I watch Biden, I'm like, something ain't right about this dude. Jesse Ventura is part of the Green Party. But that's the thing, man. It's like, why be part? Like, you're not going to win anything. That is what I am, Josh, regarding mix of what I stand for. And that's kind of how I am, too. I mean, like, so the other problem is you're just forced to basically pick one of two sides in all of this stuff. Joey is drinking Big Storm Brewery Bromasa Tangerine. 7%. That a baby.
I think they must be re-airing the Trump thing because I just walked downstairs and all I hear is LG.
Oh, little Lee Greenwood.
Just blasting from the TV.
Is like Lee Greenwood's just like so thrilled that Trump is there because nobody's ever going to use God Bless the USA again. Like Lee Greenwood, before Trump, Lee Greenwood was probably at like the opening of a gas station.
He was probably singing the national anthem at Astros games and Texas games.
But you can't do that every day.
You can.
No, but you have to have other gigs.
Do you?
Okay, you do. So my guess is before Trump, and we call this BT, before Trump, my guess is that Lee Greenwood was doing like grand opening of truck stops and performing God Bless the USA outside of these truck stops, making, you know, $1,000, $2,000 for each appearance or something like that. But then Trump comes along and every other artist ever has shut him down. They're like, we don't want Trump using our stuff, right? Which I find odd considering like all these bands, like Tom Petty's family apparently came out against him, I think. At least someone said that. I don't know how true that is.
I think it was because Tom Petty was trending.
But not only that, like it amazes me of all the music that people say, don't use my shit. Somehow we keep hearing you can't always get what you want by
Every
the Stones
time.
at the end of every one of his rallies.
And they've bitched about it, I believe.
Have they? And but he's just like, screw you. And also, maybe I misunderstand the point of the song, You Can't Always Get What You Want. And I guess I kind of get it. I guess I kind of understand the reason for using it, because if you can't always get what you want, but you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need, right?
Trump's
so maybe
what you
Trump
need.
is like saying, I'm what you need.
Yes, he
maybe
is.
that's what he's trying to get across in that. Maybe that's the idea. I love the beginning. Like it always, like, but here's my problem with it. Like Trump will do these like big time, like these big speeches. It ends with "Make America Great Again," and you're like, yeah. And then it comes in with this really slow, you know.
You want like the Hulk Hogan, I'm a real American.
Well, you know who, and I believe this was this the first or second time the Clinton family ran. I believe that Bill used "Don't Stop," and you know how I feel about Fleetwood Mac, or I know how you certainly feel about Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac.
I like some Fleetwood Mac, but I don't like a ton. But I'm fairly certain that at their rallies, and I'm guessing it was in 96 because I probably wouldn't have remembered 92. But as a kid, I remember hearing "Don't Stop" by Fleetwood Mac a lot. Andy says the Stones have bitched about it, but they really can't stop him. He pays the ASCAP fees and they can't stop him. So in theory, couldn't that be any of them then? Like, couldn't you argue then that any song, like they can bitch about it all they want, that he can use whatever song he wants?
Yeah, if he's paying
now, there's
for
also, there's ASCAP and there's BMI. So I don't know if he pays, I'm guessing he pays all the fees. Ah, okay. So he used Don't Stop in 92 and 96 for the Clinton. See, my memory is pretty good for a guy that was 10 years old at the time. But I just remember sitting there at home and I'm like, oh, there's a little Don't Stop.
He's look at Lucy.
Luther, what are you doing over there, you handsome devil? He's a very handsome boy.
He just likes acknowledgement from his dad every so often, so we just have to pause. Sorry.
Yep.
But he does like acknowledgement from his dad.
Well, that's good. How come your show is not on YouTube? Well, what do you mean, my show? I got clips on YouTube.
Wasn't it live on YouTube for a while?
It still is, I think. I think that here the last week it's been live on YouTube on a random channel. It's called just Josh Ennis Full Shows. And this is another good point from Andy. The Pretenders have bitched about Limbaugh using My City Is Gone, but again, there isn't much they can do. I wonder that every time I flip on and I hear Rush, I'm assuming there's no way the Pretenders were just I'm thrilled that Rush Limbaugh uses, My City Was Gone or Our City Was Gone or whatever the hell the song is called. So how about that? And that's why all the guys in Metallica can't bitch about me using Fuel. Although I don't use it on the radio. I use a cover version of it on this show.
Weirdo.
Luther, what are you doing? Stop licking your mom. You're weird. Oh, look at Mom. Give you some sugars, Mom. You want some suggies? Oh, there's some kisses for you, Mom. There you go.
He wants you to come give him kisses.
Oh, Luther, your dad loves you. Dad loves you. Oh, that's my buddy right there. He's a good boy. He went to Best Little Doghouse today. He's a good boy.
No,
Luther,
don't
stop.
do that.
You're a weirdo. You're a weird, kinky little shit is what you are.
What are you doing? Why don't you come give him a kiss?
Well, I'm trying to do a show here.
Well, they want to see you give him a kiss. It's on camera. Yeah.
Luther, give me suggies. Good boy.
See? That's what he wanted.
There we go. So here's a question.
Aw.
Here's a question for Andy again, which is great because Andy's just responding to this stuff. So Andy's kind of like a godlike figure in this, he's like a deity that we're asking questions for. But here's a question. So where will Biden rank among the worst political candidates of the last presidential candidates of the last, let's go since Nixon in 68. In the modern era here, has there been a worse, could you argue Dole was a worse Republican candidate than Biden will be in this case? Josh, you need the Modbro app. I was watching Back to the Future 24/7 channel and the two Coreys, Step by Step and King of Queens. All these shows are on loop. That sounds badass.
Sounds like the
Modbro
regular
app.
TV that we have.
The two worst to date. Now, are you saying the two worst to date would be these two that are going this year are the two worst to date? I see Ross Perot. Ross Perot doesn't count because Ross Perot's a third party and he was never going to win anyway. It's a question of Republicans versus Democrats. Dole and Romney are the worst Republicans. Romney was the worst. Okay. Then Biden has to be, because the Democrats have really, outside of Mondale getting his ass handed to him by Reagan. The Dems had some bad ones, but since Clinton, they've all been pretty strong outside of Hillary, and everybody would have thought Hillary was going to win anyway. Now, McGovern, of course, just got his ass handed to him, too. But Biden is going to be dreadful. The only thing Biden has going for him right now is his attachment to Obama, and that there's this anti-Trump movement of the youth of social media and blah, 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 and Black Lives Matter and everything else. That's what he's got going. Let's put it this way. There's nothing about Joe Biden, the person, that Joe Biden has going for him. Basically, the only thing Biden has going for him is Obama and that he's not Trump. Clinton, you go back to Clinton in 92, Clinton in 96. Dude had charisma, right? The guy was charming. He had charisma. He would go on the talk shows and you'd be like, hey, this guy's charming. He's got there's something good about him, right? There's nothing good about Biden. You can't look at Joe Biden and go, tell me one thing about Joe Biden that's not political, or even if it is political, that you look at Joe Biden and go, look at Joe Biden. This guy, I like this about Joe Biden. The only thing he's got going for him is that he's not Trump. That's the only thing. There's not one thing about him that stands out on that level where you would go, that's my guy right there. That a baby. Doesn't exist. Even Trump in 2016, and he obviously won, but Trump's thing was he's anti-establishment. He's going to drain the swamp, and he's the anti-politician. Tell me what stands out about Biden. You know what? I'm going to post the link to this show on Twitter, and I'm going to ask the audience that and see if they'll join the conversation.
He was on Charlemagne's show.
Was Biden on Charlemagne?
Well, that was the infamous, if you're not black.
Oh, well, that was like, I don't know that was on the air, but that was like a recorded interview. But yes, you're right. He interviewed him. Okay.
That's mostly what people think about with Biden.
That's true. Talking about Joe Biden. Can you tell me one thing other than, can you tell me one thing about Biden that stands out to you? The catch is it can't involve Obama, and it can't be that he's not Trump. What stands out about him? There we go. Can you tell me one thing about Biden that stands out to you? The catch is you can't involve Obama, and it can't be that he's not Trump. What stands out about him? Boom. Let's see if we get some people to come over with that one. Let me delete a few of these things here up on the top. I'm getting kind of bogged down with open things here. All right, let's see let's see here. The one thing is that he isn't Donald Trump. That's my point. That's the only thing he's got going for him. The only thing, like, there's not one thing that you look at him and go, wow, this guy's charismatic. Like Andy is like hardcore conservative guy. Like he's Alex P. Keaton, basically. Family Ties. So, like, you can look at certain guys. Like, you could look, like, even as a hardcore conservative guy, you could look at, I don't know, you could have looked at Clinton 92 and 96, and you knew that Bush probably didn't have much of a shot of beating him in 92, and you certainly knew that Dole didn't have it, and it wasn't just because those were old fuddy-duddies. It's because he had something that moved, right? He had a personality. He had something that popped about him. Kennedy, has something that pops, that stands out about him. Reagan, of course, something that pops and stands out about him. And then by that, I mean, and I know that Andy's saying that he's more of a libertarian. Yes, but you're more likely than not going to vote in a conservative-leaning way. I think that's fair to say. All things considered, you're more than likely going to lean that way. But there's nothing about Joe Biden that if I was like, hey, guys, Joe Biden, tell me something you like about him. It's like, whatever. Like, hey, he's an old man that looks like he's lost all the time. Cool. Like, what is it? Biden can pick out shampoo by smell alone. Well played, Crunk Scout. I like that. He likes to smell hair. He's like, Pert Plus. Like, that's probably what he's telling all these girls when he's smelling their hair. He's sniffing, and he's like, Alberta VO5. I haven't smelled that in 15 years. That's strong. He's like, boy, Alberta VO5, and are you wearing Aquanet? Oh, totally intoxicating. That's spectacular. That's his skill. Like, basically, we're bragging about the skills he possesses. Like Biden's at a point where, like, Biden should get a medal every time he makes it home without getting lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should get to a point, like, he should have a press conference every time he's able to make it home without getting lost and just go, we did it, guys. Boy, that is well played, sir. Very well played on your part. 5 gold stars for you. The absolute hatred of Trump versus the fear of Joe Biden in charge. It'll be curious to see which group shows up more in the polls on November 3rd. Very good point. Because Trump's people are going to be there. And generally speaking, traditionally, the people that would vote the way of Trump, they will be there. It's really going to be a question of whether or not Joe Biden does enough to get the younger, I would argue, blacker voters, minority voters. If he can get younger, it's always younger that you have the problem with. Can he get younger voters to come out and actually vote for him? Make them go like, oh, God, I've got to vote for Biden. And I don't think he can. Like, I just don't see that people are just going to be like, whatever.
It's also funny because I called this headline too. Like, this is the number one thing on ABC 13 right now. Trump suggests urging slowing of virus testing.
I think that was more of a misspeak. And I'm not sitting here trying to defend him in that one. But I think that was a matter of misspeaking. I'm not trying to say I got his point, but his point was that if you're going to, like, the reason the numbers are going up is because you're testing more. Either way, it sounded stupid.
Well, he said, like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, we're going to test more, but we're going to get higher numbers then. So let's stop testing. Slow down the testing.
Yeah.
And then he went to think about the 10-year-old boy with sniffles.
Yes. Which I was wondering where he was going at first, but it was kind of a long roundabout way to get to, hey, open the schools. And the reality is, and again, I'm not some like dude that sits here and tells you that the Rona's not real. I mean, obviously the Rona is real. It's a serious thing. But it stands to reason that if you open states up after months of not being open and you start testing people more, you're going to start getting results. So who's to say that if we wouldn't have just left things the way they were, that those numbers wouldn't have done exactly what they're doing now? Maybe they would have been higher, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I can't tell you. If the election was tomorrow, I'd be worried about Trump's chances, but he should turn it around by election time, says M.W. Soulgrove. Andy says, here's what I want to know. If Joe Biden is elected, who is actually running the country? Well, it's a fair question. It certainly ain't going to be him. And who's going to be the vice president? There's another question. Again, I didn't really start digging into this stuff and for a while. But you know who I really like is Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know if she's good at anything, but I know that she was in the military and she's tight. Very tight, abs wise and what have you. I saw the bikini pics of her and I'm like, you know what? I think I'd vote for you. I like the way, like, she'd be the hottest president there's ever been, right? Josh, to help with one of your points, I saw death rates for corona are still plummeting. Obviously, some of these are new cases, may die, but I kind of doubt it. That's the thing is, like, I think the death rate is going to continue to go down, right? Those are going to continue to go down. And as they continue to go down and we test more and fewer people die, and a lot of them are younger people who are getting this but are showing no symptoms and are not getting sick, at what point is it just like rock and roll and see where it goes? Tulsi is banging. Dude, JR09 country. Let me tell you something. Dude, Tulsi's hot AF. I like her. You know who I was kind of into for a while was that Michigan governor.
Oh, yeah.
I liked her a little bit. I've seen other pictures where I'm not as into her, but in that, like, I was totally into her, like, early on in the Rona. What's her name? Gretchen Whitmer. And, like, it's weird, but I'm kind of, like, sneaky turned on by the way she says Michiganders. I don't know why that turns me on.
Very random one.
She's like, Michiganders. And I'm like, I want to smell your hair. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Let's see. Trump's press secretary is hot AF. I would concur there. Rob Ellison on Broad says she's gross. Well, Robbie E., I would disagree. I don't find her to be gross. There are far more gross gals in the politics than her. Nancy Pelosi in a bikini would be awesome. No, Nancy Pelosi in a dashiki taking a knee. That would be hot. I do enjoy the way that backfired on them, though. Like wearing these like scarves that turn out to be just offensive. And they're like, damn it. God, they're morons. Who do you think's hotter, Aunt Jemima or Mrs. Butterworth? Who do you think's a more alluring figure?
Well, it's hard to tell because you don't see Mrs. Butterworth as a woman. You just see like this plastic bottle. You see a face for Aunt Jemima.
Yeah. What's the next thing that's going to change is the question, right? What's the next thing that's going to go away? What's like every day there's a new target. Like Yale, like I see a lot of Republican people fighting about how Yale is named after like a hardcore slave owner. Like, and that's been my biggest argument. If you're going to tear down statues to pander and you're going to change the name of buildings on campuses to pander,
Well, what about Columbus, Ohio? My friend brought this up who lives in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, just change the name.
Because they were trying to tear down a Columbus statue
What about Houston?
in Columbus, Ohio.
That's true. So what are you going to do? Or how about, I don't know, again, Houston. Sam Houston owned slaves.
What was the one?
Washington owned slaves.
They were trying to change the Eskimo.
The Eskimo pie.
Eskimo pie.
Because apparently that's offensive now, too. To me, the best thing I've seen in the last couple of days, though, like this was like top shelf, right? This is like home run, like Alanis Morissette level ironic here, is tearing down a statue outside of RFK Stadium of the one-time owner of the Redskins for being racist. Keep in mind,
Right.
he was the one-time owner of the Redskins. The Redskins, which is an inherently offensive name, it's named after someone's skin tone, right? So, like, just I'm not offended by it. But the idea that we're tearing down statues of this is spectacular. Like, the irony of it is sweet and sugary and delicious.
Well, your city was trending all over today.
Yes, because of Lee High School.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a school in Baton Rouge, used to be called Robert E. Lee High School. They were the Lehigh Rebels. At some point, when I was still in school, I think, or right after I got out of high school, they became just Lehigh. They were no longer Robert E. Lehigh. Get this. You want to talk about the most bizarre thing ever? So it was called Robert E. Lee High School, and they were the Rebels, which makes sense. They're the Rebels. They're Lehigh. They changed the name. Get this. They kept the name Lehigh. They took out Robert E. Lehigh and called it Lehigh. But if you could think of something that is the opposite of Rebels and you'd go, none of this makes sense, it became the Lehigh Patriots. Figure that one out. So today there was some guy at one of these city council meetings that was just going off on this woman who still tries
Like
to
the
refuse.
school board meeting, I believe.
And he's just going off on this racist woman, and it was really fascinating.
And
to
she was
hear.
literally just online shopping during this. And at one point, she just gets up and walks away.
Yep.
But yeah, she was trending all day.
Have you seen that Connie clip about Lehigh? That's what we were
That's Connie,
referring
yeah.
to, where he was, and that's in Baton Rouge. You know who went to Lee High School, by the way? Lehigh, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The most famous alumnus of Lee High School is one Randy Jackson of American Idol fame. And he was also in Journey on the Raised on Radio album, which featured great songs like I'll Be All Right Without You and Girl Can't Help It.
Oh boy, we're gonna end up getting drunk and watching those tonight, huh?
Well, maybe. Who knows? Let's see here. Did you see Jimmy Kimmel went into hiding? I did. And I'm telling you, like, here's the thing about being super woke and super judgmental and super pandering to the internet over racist stuff and political stuff is at one point, it's all going to come back on you, man.
But
And they're going to
that's-
turn on you real fast.
That's why he did it, because he knows that. But he also knows that if he takes the initiative and goes and hides before he's canceled, quote unquote, he'll be a hero for understanding what he did wrong. You know? He'll be like, oh, he took initiative. He knew he was wrong before the internet had to tell him he was wrong. So he'll still be a hero. Him and Stern are the same.
Yes, but Stern is also like hyper irrelevant. Like if you look at people who are relevant right now, right?
Well, I still think that that's why he did it.
No,
now
I
it'll be
agree.
like,
I agree that that's part
I
of the reason.
understood what I did. And I wanted to go. He'll say, like, I took time to educate myself.
Oh, of course he will.
So then
But-
he'll be fine.
But when you're the loudest voice politically and you're the loudest voice against that type of stuff, it will eventually come back around on you and they won't feel bad for you. Like if you look at if you really think about bad shit, right? Like I got fired, quote unquote, in Philadelphia for posting a picture of Al Jolson. I wasn't in blackface. I just posted a historical picture of someone making fun of someone who is, right? A bit. And it was like, oh my God, this guy's the worst, and I got fired. Jimmy Kimmel was in full-on black face, black arms, black legs, using kind of an idiot voice for Karl Malone. I wasn't offended by it, but if we're picking and choosing who we fire based on level of offensive, I think posting a picture of some guy in the 1920s in blackface to illustrate racism is far less than a guy in full-on. I think they just, people can't differentiate. It's like if you post a picture of blackface, you must have been in blackface and you're the same as everybody else. It's stupid. People are out of control.
But yeah, he'll get a pass. It'll be like, oh, he took the initiative. He knew.
You know
that
what's
he
going to
was
be
wrong.
funny out of all this, and I don't think that Kimmel's going to get fired out of this,
No.
but Kimmel's had that job for 18 years now, which is hard to believe. 18 years he's been hosting late night on ABC, right? And he had I think it's been 18 years, give or take. But it was him and Adam Carolla who were good buddies, and they started out, they were doing K-Rock together and all that kind of stuff, and they've been buddies for a long time. They did The Man Show, been around forever. Somehow, the guy who's more right-leaning, the guy who is more kind of edgy still, the guy who didn't hit the high point that Kimmel has, Carolla has a better chance of survival than Kimmel does. And you give Carolla credit. Carolla doing his podcast, kind of working for himself, has been huge. That's the scary part about working for a big television network or a big radio company, is they can tear you down real fast, man. They can blow your ass out of there real quick, and they have no issue with it. If there's one sign of turmoil, that's why the Andy was so great, is Andy's kind of the last of a dying breed. And I think that might be the reason why Andy's not on any of these radio stations now, is you have to be willing to basically roll your talent up under the bus the first sign of any sort of controversy, right? Like, if you're Andy or anybody that's in that position, they're expecting you to fire people fast, the first sign of heat. And the Andy was in it in a different era. And I think a lot of the guys that still hang around now are people who are willing to just cut your balls off and say goodbye the second there's any kind of drama. Have you guys gotten your Just Nation shirts? Have you thrown some bits in there tonight? What are you guys up to? We're working 6 days a week here. We're almost like the Beatles. We're like the Beatles minus 2 days. Someone asked earlier how the meeting went with Joe Krause. I haven't even heard from Joe. So I think we're going to go drink some beers with Joe Krause tomorrow afternoon over at Woodrow's. Before, we have to start wearing masks to go into Woodrow's. But we'll see what's going on there. See if something comes of that conversation. How do you get the shirts? Can somebody post the link for Slick Mac on how to get a Just Nation t-shirt? We're closing in on 100 of those sold. My shirt isn't in yet, but I'm not an impatient little bitch. Well, thank you, M.W. Solgro.
They're coming.
Wife bought me a Just Nation shirt for Father's Day. Hasn't arrived yet, says Mr. Engineer 1. That, my friends, is a Father's Day gift. Let me tell you something. You don't know how awesome that is to hear, by the way. That there are people who love this show so much and love what we do so much that they're like, hey, guess what? My wife bought me a Just Nation shirt for Father's Day.
That's amazing.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yes.
This is awesome.
And we need to come up with a hashtag too. I've said this before, but 4th of July weekend should be Just Nation weekend. So we need a good 4th of July Just Nation hashtag. So that everybody who gets their Just shirts, you guys should have them well before the 4th of July.
Yep.
We can just do a whole hashtag and just retweet and post everybody's picture.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy about that, though. That's the kind of stuff that I love to hear.
But these shirts
that
are
means
amazing.
we're advancing. That means we're advancing in the world.
Also, stand up and model the shirt, please.
Why should I stand up? What does it matter?
Because we want to see the whole shirt. Yeah.
Some black t-shirt. Black t-shirt. It also comes in white. That sounded sexual. There you go. It's a very comfortable shirt.
And no upcharge for big dog sizes.
Exactly. And that takes money out of my pocket. You want to know how much I love the big dogs? Because the reason why people sell, you might say, and it's bullshit as a fat guy, I can tell you. And you say, well, wait a second. I wanted to buy this shirt on your website, but if it's 3 or 4X, it costs more. That's bullshit. Because those shirts cost more to buy wholesale. The bigger the size, it's $1 more. So you charge $1 more. I don't do that. So let's say you're buying a 4X. I lose $2 or $3 on that t-shirt. But you know what? I do it because I love you.
You've been in that position.
And I hate that you go to a big and tall store. Let me tell you the biggest crime of them all, guys. The biggest crime of all of this shit is a big dog. Listen, I don't consider myself morbidly obese. The BMI would disagree. But I don't consider myself morbidly obese. But I do need to sometimes buy a tall shirt, like a 2XLT or whatever. So sometimes it's easier to shop at the big and tall. Oh, but you go to the DXL and every t-shirt's $40 damn. It's out of control. And fat men are treated like shit in this country.
But not here.
It's
Are
out
you
of
on-
control.
Are you on to the next beer yet?
I'm almost done with this. What do you want me to do?
No, I was just wondering because like I'm 3 for 3 with you, and that's very rare.
We're at that point of the night, huh? Already.
No. I just look forward to your reviews, honestly.
Well, I've had 3 of these now. Let's see.
But now there's the big ones.
I'm going to go AleSmith next.
So you're saving the 2 you think are going to be the best for last.
I do. We call that a Vanessa Williams. I'm saving the best for last.
Does this one have a story? No.
This is AleSmith. Together with our buddies at Modern Times, one of our absolute favorite San Diego breweries, we've jammed this delicious hazy India Pale Ale full of massive amounts of Citra, Enigma, and Vic Secret hops with a finishing touch of both grapefruit and lemon peel zest. The resulting aromas of bright pineapple, berries, and citrus will hit you like a wave of cosmic deliciousness. Now it's on.
So that's the San Diego beer.
Yes. Gamma says FaceTime ? What, Gamma, do you want to FaceTime?
We can do that.
That's good. You want a swig?
No, I'm good with my blueberry for now, but is that your favorite of the...
I think that's my favorite so far.
Have they gone in order?
That is fantastic. I like that.
So they've gone in order of what you've opened.
Basically, yes. Or maybe it's just because, like, the next thing I drink I think is the best. Like, that's good.
That's what I'm wondering.
Let me tell you something. I am looking forward to this, the 2 of these that have coconut in them. Josh, was it a surprise how high Meltzer ranked Lady Big Ben? I thought it was known fact that he likes fat chicks. It is. Like, Meltzer's a weird cat, but, like, I kept showing Meltzer the quarterbacks as ladies. And Meltzer goes, I show him Roethlisberger, and he's, like, and Roethlisberger's picture just looked like a dude in drag. Like, the picture of Garoppolo, you're like, oh, boy. Like, hot. Meltzer goes, 6.8. So, basically a 7 on Roethlisberger and drag.
Was that his highest? Did he rate Roethlisberger over Garoppolo?
I think he might have.
That's ridiculous.
And Meltzer is a total chubby chaser. That's his thing, man. Like, he likes big old women.
He gets girls, though.
He does, like, chicks, but I think it's because he's so, like, quiet and kind of to himself and just kind of a mystery that chicks like him.
Like, there was
like,
a
remember,
streak.
chicks are into serial killers, too.
There was a streak there for a while. Like, every time we would go out and meet Meltzer, he'd bring another chick.
That's true. Maybe Meltzer would come out tomorrow to have some crawfish. Do they have crawfish at
They did last Sunday. I'm not sure. You should ask if he wants to come out to Woodrow's. They got a dog pool.
Let's see. Let me ask Meltzer. You want to go to Woodrow's tomorrow? ?
Is he still doing, like, Mad Dog on Sundays? Or?
I don't know that he is, actually. Baker
Do
Mayfield.
you guys want to come to Woodrow's for crawfish tomorrow?
Who wants to be friends with us?
Luther wants
We'll
to
be
go.
there. I don't know what time. I've actually heard chicks dig Meltzer. That should have been the first time the world was going. That should have been the first time the world was going to shit. No, there are chicks that like Meltzer, man. He's
A
like, he has
lot.
he
A
has-
lot of them.
And I think it's because I think it's his lack of personality that makes him alluring, I think, to people. Because he has bless his heart, he has a woeful personality.
Like, the last time we met him, like, it was before Sean's wedding. Sean, what's his name?
Pendergast? Yeah, he came
Pendergast?
out to see us.
And the chick that he brought was like, yeah, he wouldn't let me go to the wedding with him. Like, oh.
I know. That was like Meltzer, like he knows how to keep
It
his
was
hose
awkward.
on a
He's
leash.
like, I'm going to the wedding right after this. And she's like, are you sure I can't go? No, I'm going solo. Oh.
Now, Gamma asks if we want to go to Front Porch Tuesday evening. I guess he hasn't heard the news. Front Porch is closed, my
I
friend.
haven't heard that either. You broke that to
I
me.
saw
That's
that on
sad.
Twitter. Now, I don't think it's permanent, but I think that Front Porch is closed for the time being because they had a Rona outbreak. So they had to shut it, as our man Taffer would say, we're shutting it the F down.
But I've heard Beer Market posted they're going to have their steak nights again. And Beer Market has a fantastic steak night.
Yep.
Wednesdays and Fridays is what they used to be, but I know they're doing Wednesdays. Maybe Wednesday, Gamma.
Maybe. Yeah, you want to go to steak night one of these nights next week, Gamma? Which one's Wednesday? Beer Market?
Beer Market's bringing it back Wednesday.
And which one's Woodrow's?
Wednesday.
Oh, boy. We got to flip a coin.
And Christians Wednesday. Christian's tailgate steak neck looked really good too.
It did. Looked pretty tasty.
And they're all, right here.
Let's have a Just meetup in Houston for sure. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to a Just meetup.
We wanted to do that. We just kind of been waiting for the Rona thing to kind of die down, but now it's back up.
It'll go away at some point. We're all going to survive this. Well, I mean, and if you don't, you weren't meant to survive it. I'm sorry to be so bleak. It's just the reality. Little Woodrow's question mark. Gamma, yeah, like maybe next week. How about we do that instead of FaceTiming and shit? You know what we'll do? Maybe we'll go to steak night on Wednesday.
Yeah,
or something like that. Go get a steak.
Good.
They
Wednesday.
brought it. Where did they bring in this new place from?
I think it's from Huntsville.
From like Huntsville, man. So yeah, it's a new steak night they're going to be doing on Wednesdays. So that sounds like pretty badass.
We should.
I also saw Richard Padron in here not too long ago. I don't know if he's still watching or not, but I saw him in
Metro
here
Ready Mix.
from Metro Ready Mix. Have y'all tried Turkey Leg Hut? Not yet.
The line is too long.
It is.
I've heard it's amazing.
Yeah, it does. Barbershops open in Philly this week, contemplating getting a cut Friday. Drew 19120. Are you from Manayunk? If you're Drew 19, was that our
No.
or no 128? 19128.
That's not our zip code.
What was our zip code in Philly?
128.
Yeah, it was
Not
19128. Oh, okay. Sorry, you're not from Manayunk. You're a loser.
And also, the mailman told you we lived in Roxborough.
Technically, we did. Yes. Anytime you're in the Tomball, Magnolia, Hockley area, dinner is on me, says Corey. Why don't we go to the drive-in in Hockley and go see a movie, Corey?
Also, Luther likes that little disc golf place in Hockley.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Zube Park?
Yeah. Gama says Concrete Chemistry and Mac Knight will meet us. Well, there we go. We'll get 3 sponsors. One, just drink some beers together.
Okay,
That sounds-
Gama, set that up for Wednesday night. We'll do it.
Wednesday night. Now, remember, we're on at 7, so we'll do it after the podcast. So like 8-something.
8:30.
8:30. They should still have steaks at 8:30.
I think they do 6. They do it later. They do like 6 to 11, I think.
Well, you know what? I'm down, man. That sounds like a party.
Like 8:30 would be ideal. Gama, set that up.
I like that. Corey's over here like, yep, I'm down to go to the drive-in. Well, we should go to the drive-in. That's what we should do. Have a drive-in party. I was raised in Hockley, says Slick Mac. Well, there you go, buddy. Is Andy still in the party? Where's Andy been? I haven't heard from Andy in a while. My son lives in Fishtown and hates it. I didn't like Fishtown either. That's, again, one of my holdups about going to...
Remember that time we got invited to go to like the party in Fishtown and we just walked by? Andrew and I were talking about the other day, Lady Grew, about how we just were like assholes. We're like, no, we're good. We could have had an epic story. Remember that?
I did, because they were all smoking pot and everything.
They had
Yeah.
pot brownies. Like, come on in.
I should have. You know what? Looking back on it, should have just done it. Did Josh stop fasting? No, I still, during the week, Monday through Friday, I fast from usually like 6:30 p.m. until about noon. On the weekend, obviously doing the podcast and stuff, I drink some more beer.
And for steak night, we'll make an exception.
Yes, correct. Josh, you should have a drive-through party. All the drive-throughs, your fat ass goes through. Well, thank you, Spike Eskin. Appreciate that. Who's a better Batman, Christian Bale or Ben Affleck? The answer is neither. I saw somebody post, like today is like the 15th anniversary, I believe, of the Nolan Batman. Here's a hot take. I don't like any of those Batman movies. They were boring and long. The Christopher Nolan Batmans. I think I fell asleep. Like, me and my buddies went to see one after I got off of work, and I fell asleep. Wasn't into it. But I don't like superhero movies, so that's kind of, like I like 1989 Batman. I'm a supporter of 1989 Batman more so than any of them. And dude, here's another hot take. Joker is better than any of the Christopher Nolan Batmans. Little Woodrow's Wednesday at 9, officially set up. Murphy Yates will make an appearance. Well, thank you, Gama. That's badass.
Guess we're going to Little Woodrow.
9 o'clock at Little Woodrow's. That's Midtown, right, Gama? Just to make sure we got the right one.
Brazos Street.
Yeah.
So we can confirm that, and then anyone else in Just Nation who'd like to stop by, you're more than welcome. I think I kicked my camera again. My apologies.
Well, sometimes you got to deal with those things. But the camera, we improved Jilly's camera quality, and we basically put the camera closer to Jilly so it wasn't as fuzzy.
Yeah, so now I may kick it every once in a while, so bear with me.
Yeah. I agree with your hot take about Joker. Dude, Joker was a better movie than any. I'm also not a huge fan of the Heath Ledger Joker either. I know people had a hard on for that. Didn't do anything for me. The Dark Knight is the best movie ever. I disagree with that. Michael Keaton was the best Batman. Michael Keaton's a legend. And not only was Michael Keaton great in Batman, which he clearly was, but Michael Keaton was also spectacular in virtually every movie he starred in the 80s. So, and Gama's welcoming Gist Nation out on for steak night on Wednesday as well. So if you guys want to come out and drink some beers with us, it's kind of an unofficial meetup in Midtown. Some of the Gist sponsors will be there. But let's see. Michael Keaton movies of the 80s. Let's go with Night Shift, which was great. Let's go with Gung Ho, not bad. Mr. Mom, one of like the 5 best movies ever.
I was gonna say, how is Mr. Mom not number 1?
I was just going through the list of the movies, the first that were coming to my mind. Batman, 1989. An underrated movie, which was very good, was Batman Returns. Michael Keaton's, here's one that a lot of people probably haven't seen, but it was a small part of the movie. But Michael Keaton was great in a Will Ferrell movie called The Other Guys, as like the captain of the police precinct. He was good in that. Joe says that Batman Returns is the best Batman movie ever. I think it's really good. And I understand why people had an issue with it when it came out, because it was very different than the 1989 Batman. It was darker. It was more of what Tim Burton originally wanted to do. Batman Returns is a really good movie. Let's see, Mr. Mom. There's so many quotes in Mr. Mom. Mr. Mom is a legendary movie. Like, when I tell you, and I think it's Carrie in there, Mr. Mom is one of the legendary movies. Andy says Adam West is the only Batman. You know what's fascinating? I want to say that the Batman TV show with Adam West was only on for 2 years. Like, and I know that there were a lot more episodes in a season than there are now. Now it's like if you get like 10 episodes, it's a big deal. I'm fairly certain that show was only on from 66 to 68. I could be wrong, but like it was surprisingly short. There were a lot of episodes in that window, and like Superman, the what's his name that shot himself? Not Christopher Reeve, who fell off the horse, but the other guy's name was also Reeves. That shot himself allegedly. There's a mystery around it. He might have been murdered. But the dude that played Superman in the 50s, there weren't that many episodes of that. They just kept replaying. How do you feel about the Harley Quinn movies? I am very turned on by Harley Quinn.
I like Birds of Prey.
And I thought Birds of Prey was good because it was kind of a self-effacing movie. I love Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm a sucker, though. I think Jilly hates that one, right? No, she hates Bad Boys, too.
Yes.
Too Fast, Too Furious is a badass movie. I love that movie. I don't watch it all the time, but like I loved it when I saw it.
When did you stop watching Fast and Furious? At what number? Because what are we on, like 10 now?
2
Oh.
is the correct.
Okay.
When there was part 2, and then there was Tokyo Drift, and I didn't watch that, and I couldn't even tell you what number we're on Fast and
I think
Furious.
we're on like 10.
Let's see here. George Reeves is who I was thinking of. Thank you. Multiplicity was the best Michael Keaton movie. You know, it was not a good Michael Keaton movie. That one where he's married to Nicole Kidman and he's got cancer and he's filming a movie for his unborn kid. Way too depressing. I believe it was called My Life. Not a good movie. Let's see here. I thought the newest Bad Boys movie was good. I got that review from multiple people.
We didn't see it.
Because you wouldn't let me see it, you wench.
The Rona hit too.
No, but that movie had already been out well before the Rona. They might have still been out, but like it had come and gone in terms of its popularity. So that's really on you.
You could have gone and seen it whenever you wanted.
But I don't like to go without you. What are you gonna do if I go to the movie without me? Like we're movie partners here. Indiana Jones needs a reboot. I got a hot take for you too. I don't care about Indiana Jones movies. There's a lot of 80s like classic movies, and we have this discussion every Saturday, that I just don't care about. Like E.T., don't give a shit about E.T. Don't give a shit about Indiana Jones. don't really give a shit about the Goonies. And maybe like, and there's some like, I love Ferris Bueller, right? I think Ferris Bueller's a good movie. Breakfast Club, I don't think ages well. 16 Candles, pretty good. I like Pretty in Pink. Back to the Future is like my favorite movie ever. I like Back to the Future 3 more than I think, more than I like Back to the Future 2. Bry Guy says Back to the Future is overrated. Your mom's overrated, Bry Guy. I'll come over there. I'll kick you in the teeth. Back to the Future is one of the great movies. Teen Wolf is a great movie. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors is a great one. What's your favorite Steve Guttenberg movie? The Big Green is the correct answer. Or Three Men and a Baby. License to Drive and anything with Cusack. See, now I can have a long discussion with you about old Johnny Cusack. I'm going to lean back for this because I am a Cusack connoisseur. First of all, if Back to the Future is the greatest movie ever made, and it's damn close, I would put Better Off Dead as one of the other best movies of all time. I would put High Fidelity starring Cusack. Think about how great Cusack is. Like, now he doesn't really make movies that are worth a shit anymore. But from in the 80s, 90s, and the first part of the 2000s, like the first, like, basically 3 decades, 2.5 decades, John Cusack was making legendary movies, right? So, Better Off Dead is great. Grosse Point Blank is great. You know, actually, hold on. And I know that this may not be considered a Cusack movie, but a movie that I will watch every time this shit is on TV. Con Air. And he's a big part of Con Air, but he is spectacular in Con Air. I mean, Con Air is just legendary. But High Fidelity is one of my 5 favorite movies of all time. And it's hard. Like, I judge people that can't come up with a list, but High Fidelity is legendary. And it's hard because I try to come up with a top 5, and it's hard. And what's funny about High Fidelity is the whole concept of High Fidelity is that, like, they just talk about top 5 or top 3 lists. His sister is terrible. I disagree. I like Joan Cusack. Remember Rocky V, asked Andy? Here's the thing, Andy. Rocky V is not as bad as people make it out to be. And maybe that's just a hipster viewpoint on my part.
Where does it rank on your list of Rockies? Because now we're back to that.
All right, shit. Hold on. Do you have a pen?
Yep.
Let me get a pen.
It's over there.
It comes that time in the show where I write lists of movie rankings on my hand. Let's see.
There's 2. Take your pick, black or blue.
Black or Blue. Black and Blue was also the name of a Van Hagar song. Hold on. The next studio will not have big fluffy carpet, I'll tell you that.
Luther won't like that.
All right. See, and that's the weird thing. Like, people, the big knock that people have on Rocky V is that he never fights in the ring. Who the hell cares? All right, so here's my list of Rocky films. Rocky 3. Now, hold on. Again, I can't believe we're doing this again.
Well, normally it's Nightmare on Elm Street, so this is kind of a change.
Are we counting the, and I get your point, Andy. You said you missed my point. No, you're saying they're coming up with an Indiana Jones 5. Anybody think of Rocky 5 or Nightmare on Elm Street 5? Has there been a good part 5 of any series? But anyway, so are we counting the shitty, I say shitty, they're okay, but they're basically the same damn movie just repackaged. Creed. Do we count Creed or do we end the Rocky series with Rocky Balboa, which, by the way,
I think you end with Rocky Balboa.
Okay, because all Creed, like Creed 2 is literally Rocky 4. Okay. Gama says he's watching the last Ozark episode. Damn, he says. Ozark was a good show, too.
Ozark's great.
I think Ozark gets a little outlandish. Like, at some point, someone's got to catch on to what they're doing, and they have to get caught. Like, they keep getting away just by the skin of their teeth.
Or someone has to kill them. Someone.
Yes. All right, so Joe says Robert Englund's favorite moment in the franchise takes place in Nightmare 4, the repeating nightmare sequence. That was where they're outside of the diner and she runs out and says, okay, I'm driving. And then like they kind of realize they're in a dream. Dude, Nightmare 4 had some really good shit in it.
We also learned that who's the kid in Nightmare
Kincaid.
is the hero.
Well, so last night we stumbled upon this documentary on IFC. And this documentary was about like black people in horror movies because it's like Juneteenth and there were all these documentaries. So basically they took every movie and tried to explain to you that like in Frankenstein, really Frankenstein represents black people and the Swamp Thing is black people and then black people get killed first. And then it was such a big, like, here's where I think I call bullshit. When I see guys like in these documentaries and they're like, as a young kid, it was such a big deal when this guy survived the movie for me because like black guys never survive horror movies. I doubt that a 10-year-old kid was thinking that, but I'll call bullshit, but whatever. So we're watching this in Kincaid, who is in part 3 and part 4. And Kincaid, the guy who plays Kincaid, claims that the only reason he was in part 4 is because they forgot to kill him in part 3.
And that he was a hero.
Well, that was just in that. I'm talking about the Never Sleep Again documentary, which is one of the greatest documentaries ever. But anyway, back to the Rocky thing. All right, I'm going to write this down. Rocky 3 is number 1. That's my favorite of the Rocky films.
What happens in Rocky 3?
Rocky 3 is where he fights Mr. T.
Okay.
And I think that Rocky 3 has really the perfect combination of like action and seriousness. Because Rocky 4 is a clown show. Like Rocky 4 is a giant music video and there's really no real drama in it.
But you like all the music from Rocky 4.
Oh, God, yeah. I'd go 3, 1. Rocky Balboa at number 3. So that's number 6, technically. 3, 1. Balboa. 4. 5. 2. And the one constant in...
Yeah, show off your hand.
And this is my hand. The one constant in all of this is that Rocky 2 will always be my least favorite Rocky movie because it's long. You know what it is? It's kind of like, here's the thing with Rocky 2. It's kind of like Trump tonight. It was too damn long. The difference is there were some moments that Trump was interesting. Rocky 2 was never interesting.
You also hate Nightmare on Elm Street 2, right? That's your least favorite Nightmare on Elm Street?
Part 5 is. Hold on.
Okay.
Why is the burner phone ringing? Hello? Hello?
Josh, Ennis.
Hello?
Hello.
Who is this?
Who the hell is this?
Who the hell are you?
Gala, Harbor Classic.
Hey, what's up, dude? How are you?
How you doing? Are you
Good.
still? What's going on, man?
Oh, not much, man. Just hanging out, doing a podcast and all. So we're going to drink beers on Wednesday?
Wednesday, I've set it up.
Oh,
I've
it's going
set it
down. So you've set it up with, so who all is going to be at this beer drinking?
Concrete Chemistry, Magnite Safety Solutions, myself, Murphy Yates, and we're trying to get Prime Winter Consulting out there as well.
Look
Oh,
at this. It's like
boy.
it's a GIS sponsor meetup.
It's a GIS orgy, if you will.
And then
Yes.
if any of the listeners want to come out and drink beers with us, have at it. It's a good time.
Absolutely, everybody. Yeah, Joe, Philly, come on.
Joe, get on a plane.
Joe, go ahead. Get on a bus. He seems like a bus guy, so he'll be here in
Yes.
3 weeks.
Get Southwest Airlines. Want to get a Wayfair? Come on, Joe. Come on.
Oh, that sounds like a party. I'm down though. So we'll drink some beers and we'll hang out with all these sponsors and maybe some listeners will pop out and bada bang.
There you go. Love you, Josh.
Love you,
Take
man.
care, buddy.
See you, Gama. Good talking with you, man.
It's on.
Wednesday, it's on, man. Love that guy. So we're gonna have a big sponsor meetup on Wednesday. If you guys want to hang out at Little Woodrow's for steak
Any
night.
Just Nation fools.
And if you get your Just Nation shirt, wear that shit so we'll know who you are. And if you don't have your Just Nation shirt, get one. See, this is funny. So Andy's ripping me for not putting Rocky 1. The first Rocky's a fantastic movie. I'm not telling you it's not. But my favorite of the series is Rocky 3. Followed by the first, then Rocky Balboa, then Rocky 4, then Rocky 5, then Rocky 2. Dr. Greg is here dropping 1,000 bits. Much love. You know who I'm jealous
Did you
of?
just Sammy Sosa?
I did. But you know who I'm really jealous of?
Dr. Greg?
Yes, obviously. But Sean Salisbury. So this dude's just in Arizona still. Like, he just lives his
Yeah,
life
when
in
is
Arizona.
he coming on the podcast?
I don't know. I text him and like he doesn't get back to me anymore.
Did you text him tonight?
No, but I texted him during the Sosa McGuire thing and I never heard back from him and I just never texted again. And like sometimes he'll get back to me months later. But dude, because Salisbury just does like just to think about how fascinating 790 is though. Like Salisbury's just living basically in Arizona and he gets to do his show from there. It's interesting. Rocky 3, he fights a wrestler. That's not a clown show. Okay, but that's odd. But they acknowledge that it's a stunt. It's not the main fight of the movie, you schmuck. Rocky 1 is a classic movie. But if you said what I find to be the most enjoyable, I like Rocky 3. Maybe the listeners come say, hey, and grab a beer after the sponsors and y'all talk business. You can come out during that. It don't matter, man. It ain't nothing but a chicken wing on a string, man. Meltzer asked, what time do we want to go over there? Let me see. I actually don't have that answer. I don't know. What time do you available, dog? Because I still haven't heard from Joe about when we're meeting him about potentially talking business.
Were they like 4?
Which Rocky won the Oscar for Best Movie? Which other Rocky got nominated? How is this debatable? Because you're using the Oscars, which are a bunch of fucking old white men judging what movie is great. Like, you know what else won Best Picture? Chicago. Or that movie about the weird scaly man-fish movie a couple years ago. Are we really judging the Oscars for what the best movies are? There have been a lot of shitty movies that have won Best Picture. You don't like Jaws. I didn't say I didn't like Jaws. I think Jaws is a very good movie. I think Jaws is overrated. And I think that Spielberg got very lucky. And you might say, Josh, how did Spielberg get lucky? Spielberg, who basically by his own admission would tell you that he got lucky because the shark didn't work. And because the shark didn't work, that led him to having to get creative. So by having to get creative with the shark, which wasn't working, he had to try different things, thus having less of the shark. And that created the drama that was very Hitchcockian, and that created and made the movie. If the shark was working, here's a hot take. If the shark was working, we never have Steven Spielberg. Talk amongst yourselves. If the shark was working, we'd never have Steven Spielberg. Luthi, you okay over there? The shark was supposed to be in full view when it eats Alex Kittner. The test footage for that is on YouTube, and it is nightmare fuel, says Joe. Now I want to see that. But the point is, if you see the shark eat the kid, there's no drama. The drama made the movie. And they've basically said that. Now, Steven Spielberg didn't say there'd be no Steven Spielberg. But he has said that basically it was by luck that the movie became so dramatic. But part of what made it so dramatic also made it kind of boring. And you talk about too long. That movie was way too damn long. You all right over there, Luther? Wolf of Wall Street is how I trained my sales staff. You? Question mark. That was another movie that's too long, but that's very Scorsese. Let's see. Meltzer says he's available after 12. Let me think of a time. See, what I need to do is go hang out with Meltzer and get a buzz on. Then when Joe shows up, I'll be loose and I'll be like, all right, give me $100,000. You were right about Spielberg and the shark. If the shark had worked as designed, Jaws would not have been what it was. See, I'm brilliant, Andy. This is why you hired me in Philadelphia. I am a database of knowledge that people don't know that I have. I'm kind of almost godlike. I mean, I don't want to brag, but Luther, would you agree that Dad's kind of godlike? Come over here. Come see Dad really quick so people can see your face, your beautiful face. Let's see. And also, another take, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of Spielberg shit. Jurassic Park is fine. It's a nice movie. Don't care about any of the Indiana Jones. Like, I watched a whole documentary about Spielberg, and then I'm watching all the movies he made, and I'm just kind of like, I'm not really a huge fan of any of these movies, you know? Josh, not only are you godlike, you're also extremely humble. Thank you. I agree. I'm very humble. Luther and I are here. Spielberg's biggest contribution to Jaws was changing the ending to the shark, just slowly bleeding out like it does, to blowing it up. And I'll tell you why he did that, because I think you and I watched the same documentary, Joe. They said, now what makes you like, how will anybody believe that this shark is going to bite down on this tank to allow them to shoot and blow him up? And he's like, I got him for 2 hours, so they'll believe me for another 60 seconds or another 2 minutes, and then bam, it worked.
I think you may need a Luther break.
A Luther break? What kind of break is that?
Because he gets mad when you don't pay attention to him. When you don't.
Oh, Luther. Oh, dear. Do I have to come over there and say hello, Luther? This is my life now, huh? I got to come say hi. Can I have a sugar? Oh, thank you. You're a good boy.
He's like, I need to make sure Dad's paying attention to me.
Okay, my dad still loves me. It's fine. That's right, Andy, you were. I know that because your wife told me that time I was at your house, which was like the time I was convinced, like, that's when I learned your wife did not like me.
And there were crystals involved.
And your wife was like, basically she cornered me and she's like, basically, Andy's going to pretty much lose everything over you if this doesn't work. I'm like, sorry?
Can you hand me another beer because Luther's on me and I cannot reach over?
What do you, oh, you got the same beer.
No, I have the switch.
Wheat? Real wheat?
Oh.
Oh, boy. Nice. There you go. Let me tell you, Andy is brilliant. There's a Jaws documentary. I've watched it. I think I had, back in the day, your boy had the, like the 2 VHS set. And on one of the VHSs, it had the whole documentary. So I was doing some living back then.
So Orbit IPA has been the favorite so far?
Yep, I think so.
Over this one?
I think over this is pretty good, but I think that's better. Z-Dog's girl is doing him dirty, says Richard from Metro Ready Mix. Well, what happened? I must have missed it.
Last I saw, she was in Illinois, but still making him videos. I thought that was sweet that she made him a video. You never see that.
Here's one. Hot take. Stephen King sucks. Here's the thing. And I'm not going to invest time in reading Stephen King books because they're all like 700 pages and I'm not interested. But they're not all that great.
My mom loves Stephen King for whatever reason.
But like, let's think about this. Like, there was like Pet Sematary, I think. Like, Pet Sematary is a big, wacky, schlocky movie, but I
Yeah, you're going
enjoyed
to
it.
bury me in Pet Cemetery.
Andy says, my wife likes me less than you, so don't overthink it. I believe you.
Give Luther's opinion on Pet Cemetery.
Let me tell you about Pet Sematary. It's very insensitive. It's very insensitive to have talk about dead dogs.
Look at him.
Dad, it's insensitive. Luther, you struggling over there, buddy? Luther's struggling.
I think he wants us to be on the camera.
Scott produced a letter from Kenny Beyond the Grave today about his song. I saw that on Facebook. So my dad posted a picture. He wrote a song that Kenny Rogers recorded. This back in 2002, 3, whenever it was. And Dad posted the letter today of this this letter that Kenny Rogers wrote to him. And let me tell you how personal it was. He spelled my dad's name wrong. That's how personal this letter was. Here, you want to take Luther outside? I got to entertain the people.
No, he just wants you.
Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm trying to do the podcast.
That's no problem. He just wants you to talk to him.
Luther, what are you doing? Dad, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know here.
I can give him all the attention I can, but it doesn't matter. He wants your attention.
Luther, you want to come sit with me? Come over here. Come on. He's a handsome boy, by the way.
He wants to be on camera.
Luther, you want to be on camera? Come here. Come here. Over here. It's also Father's Day, right? Well, it's almost Father's Day.
Yeah. You might be on Father's Day camera.
Oh, you want to be on Father's Day camera? Speaking of kids, of fathers, Andy's kids are the most brilliant kids ever. They're the ones that told us radio is dead.
Come here.
Come on, Luther, over here. Come see Dad. There you go. There you go.
Remove your
Now
headphones?
you're comfy. Okay.
He just wants to be closer to you. He wants to be by you.
My dog loves me. You guys wish your dog loved you like this. Dogs are the greatest, aren't they, Dad? Dad, don't you love it?
You better wear your best dog dad ever t-shirt about
When we go out to the bar tomorrow, Dad, Let's see. Richard, thank you. That's a fly shirt. I agree. Just Nation, baby. Look at that shit right there.
Is Richard coming to this Just Nation
He should.
meetup?
Richard should come drink some beers with us on Wednesday over at Little Woodrow's that Gamma has set up with all the Just Nation sponsors here. It's pretty amazing the fan base we have here and the client base we have here. And let me tell you something, man. Part of what makes me proud about this is we're just a humble little podcast. We're not like some behemoth here, but we have potential to be a behemoth based on like, there are a lot of podcasts that don't have the same kind of clients and everything that we have. And we're just a little podcast here. It's pretty amazing. I appreciate all of you. Brandy is trending. I don't know why she is, because every time something or someone is trending, you can never figure out why. I did see Denzel, so safe to assume Brandy is still alive. You think Brandy's dead?
Probably not.
She probably just said something about Trump, if I had to guess, to try to get herself in the news. Let's see what Brandy's up to. Is Brandy trending? Cancel Yale is still trending. Why is Bernie Mac trending?
Or even the best comedian.
Oh, the best comedian of all time? Well, the best comedian of all time is Richard Pryor. Probably followed by, this is a great, you know what? This is a great discussion here. Let me get my hand back out and write these down. The best
Well,
comedian.
it's actually the #1 king of comedy.
Yeah, he's number one. So that's the number one of the original kings of comedy on the
Lucy.
movie. Luther, what are you doing? Yes, the number one on that would in fact be Bernie Mac. Followed by, now, is it just their set they did in the original Kings of Comedy? Or is it just who's the better lifetime comedian?
I think Lifetime.
A lot of black folks don't really like Steve Harvey anymore. They think he's kind of sold out.
I tell you, I dreamt when Bernie Mac died, and I woke up and then Bernie Mac was dead.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
You killed him.
But no, Bernie Mac is fantastic in Kings of Comedy, and I think is my favorite of the four.
Andy says that Brandy is trending because she's a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. Such a fine wife. Let me write this down. Let me give you a Mount Rushmore of comedians. I will go with Pryor. All right, I'll go with Pryor. I will go then. I will follow that with how am I drawing a blank? What's his name? Boy, how my brain is not working right now. But I'm gonna go Richard Pryor. I'm gonna go Carlin. All right. Then I will go. Again, these are stand-up comedians we're talking about here. Chris Rock is good. I see a lot of people saying Chris Rock. I think Chappelle is actually overrated.
Well, I don't. I think Chappelle's great.
I think it depends, but I don't think Chappelle's one of the 4 best stand-ups of all time. I think Chris Rock stand-up in the 90s, and he's kind of completely changed. But I think Chris Rock 90s stand-up better than really anything Chappelle has ever done, honestly. Because Chappelle wasn't really a great stand-up until like these last couple where he's like willing to say shit other people don't. I see that that Andy's got Eddie Murphy at number 4. Here's the thing about Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy only did 2 stand-ups ever. And then of course, like I view him as more of a movie star than a stand-up. Like I know that Richard Pryor was in a shitload of movies, but I think that Richard Pryor was a better stand-up than movie star. Dangerfield's a good one. But the thing about Dangerfield is, and he was great, but Dangerfield was a one-line comic. I'm not a big, I don't really care for like kind of outrageous one-line comics. Kennison was great. Dice has some moments that are great. But I think Chris Rock is better than Chappelle. Kennison is great. You know who's underrated? Not anymore. I think he kind of sucks now, but and this is one that isn't like one of the legends. But I think Patton Oswalt was a great stand-up. He's got a couple of specials, a couple of CDs that were fantastic. I see people jokingly putting Dane Cook. Vicious Circle was a great stand-up. There's never been anyone like Kennison before or after, says Andy. Like, here's the thing that Kennison had that very few of these guys had. Kennison could fill up a hockey arena, a basketball arena. Now, ask Dice, and Dice will tell you he was like the first stand-up to fill up the Garden and all that. And Dice was obviously, I don't know that Dice was as good as Dice's reputation was, right? So like Dice was obviously a megastar. He was in that era of like megastar filling up arena comedians, but I don't consider Dice to be one of the all-time great comedians. Kinnison was better than Dice, and I like Dice a lot. But Kinnison not only filled up arenas, but Kinnison was a better overall stand-up. And what made Kinnison even better is Kinnison was like a preacher, and he came from a family of preachers. So like he kind of carried, he's like, it was like this pulpit, and he was great. Like I would put Kinnison over Dice, and Dice is great. But I would go Pryor is the best. And Pryor, if you look for two of the best stand-up specials in the history of stand-up, you would go Richard Pryor live in concert and Richard Pryor live on the Sunset Strip are two of the best stand-up specials in history. Carlin would be number 2. Now, Carlin towards the end was really kind of unfunny and kind of bitter. But if you go Carlin, I know a lot of people would argue that like 7 Dirty Words and all that was like prime Carlin, and that's debatable. But Carlin, late 80s, early 90s, kind of grouchy, but not insufferably grouchy. Got like the black t-shirt tucked into the black jeans, slick back hair in a ponytail, fresh off of Bill and Ted. That was some legendary stuff. But live on the Sunset Strip, if you ask me what's your favorite stand-up special of all time, it's live on the Sunset Strip. Like, I just think it's spectacular. Like, the way that Pryor can tell a story is better than anybody. Let's see. Dice also wasn't authentic. Kinnison was. I agree.
Whatever happened to that Dice show? It was like
I actually enjoyed it. And Dice, I think Dice came on the Philly show like 3 times, by the way. Like
he and Roseanne were supposed to go out together. Now, what a show that would be.
I'd go see that. I've seen
Boy, Carbach Southern Weave.
it's good. I saw Seinfeld in Baton Rouge, and he was okay.
But you never watched Seinfeld, so you probably
No, but I know I watched enough of it to know it. You know, and this is going to sound weird, okay? And I'm not saying he's one of the all-time greats in terms of material so much, but Jeff Foxworthy is a fantastic stand-up. And you know who else is that was also part of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour? Ron White. Ron White, fucking phenomenal. But Foxworthy, as far as just the execution of being a stand-up, he's spectacular. You don't have to like the material and not like the kind of act, you know? But Foxworthy is a great stand-up. If you take current events and creepiness out of the mix, Bill Cosby was really good. Who's the best female stand-up?
I used to love Chelsea Handler.
But was she a stand-up?
Yeah, she did
Oh,
stand
I
up.
know she did stand
I
up.
went and saw her like 3 times.
I
I love Chelsea. I think Natasha Leggero's funny.
actually, you know who I like now? And she's raunchy, and maybe that's too much of her act, that she's kind of raunchy. But Nikki Glazer. But I think it's more so because I think Nikki Glazer is sexy.
She's funny though. I like Natasha Leggero better.
And let's see.
I do not like Amy Schumer.
Well, who does? Assholes. Seinfeld makes you smile or chuckle, not belly laugh. I agree, Andy. Like when I saw him, and it was expensive. I somehow got radio station tickets in Baton Rouge, and I'm watching, and I'm kind of like, great. What's your take on Mitch Hedberg? I think Mitch Hedberg gets old after a while. And I think if Mitch Hedberg doesn't die, maybe he's not as legendary. I think his death kind of made that. Joan Rivers is a good one. Good call,
love
Andy.
Joan Rivers.
But like when she was a stand-up, that's basically who Miss Maisel is based on.
Yes.
Andy, have you tried to watch? Have we talked about this? Have you tried to watch The Marvelous? Yeah, we did, because you said that you grew up. You weren't like New York Jewish. You were like Midwest Jewish, so it's kind of different. Let's see. And Andy says Belzer is great at execution. Belzer at one point I think Belzer got his ass knocked out by Hulk Hogan on his short-lived TV show at one point.
Oh.
Joan Rivers was great. Bill Burr is a maniac. You know what I like about Bill Burr? when Bill Burr was doing the Opie and Anthony comedy thing in Philly, he just unloaded on all these Neanderthals in Philadelphia who wouldn't shut up during the set, and he just destroyed them. And that's the moment I learned that Philly people are the weirdest, like, masochists ever. They love that you shit on them. They love that you just you sit there and tell them every bad thing about them, and they just kind of sit there and like talk to you like it's a joke, and you're like, no, I hate you, you're terrible, and they're like, ha ha, this is great. They don't like you until you start shitting on them. It's a weird phenomenon. We went to see, you know who else is good is who's our guy from Comedy Central?
Daniel Tosh.
Daniel Tosh, he's good.
Lucy, what's up? Look at Lucy. Pause.
Oh no, Luther, what are you doing down there, buddy? We're having a conversation. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Now you're gonna come give him a kiss.
Trying to do podcast. Okay. Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Sorry, Luther takes priority.
He does.
If he's needy, we have to be needy to him.
Yes, Josh, that was one of the funniest things ever. Which one was one of the funniest things ever? Artie Lang. I'm not a big Artie guy. I don't dislike him.
I also love Joel McHale is very funny in stand-up.
Jim, here you brought up Jim Gaffigan too.
I did not bring up Jim
I was talking to Eagles Monkey. Sorry.
Also funny.
Gaffigan is a clean comic, but I think Gaffigan does some fantastic stuff.
Gaffigan's
it's
really
very
funny.
hard to be a clean comic that works, but he does.
Hot Pockets.
Was Tosh good live? He was.
I love Tosh.
I thought he was good.
And I love the girl in front of us who's like, oh, this is disgusting. Have you watched Tosh? I love Tosh, and Joel McHale is very funny. And Jim Gaffigan. Carrie loves Jim Gaffigan.
I love Jim Gaffigan. He's a clean comic, but I love him.
Remember his show that was
Yeah,
on
it
for
was
like
a
a couple
short-lived
years?
little show.
There were like 5 funny episodes.
Let's see. Kevin James' stand-up was really good. I think he did have one that was pretty good. But we had this debate today. I say we. I brought this up on Twitter, and people responded. I think King of Queens is one of the best sitcoms of all time. And I also think Coach is one of the best sitcoms of all time. It's hard because, like, sitcoms you kind of judge differently. Like, we like Parks and Rec, right?
I love Parks and Rec.
But, like, I think sometimes there are shows that are very good, but they're too smart for their own good. Like, I think that Arrested Development in its first 2.5 seasons was great. Then it came back to Netflix, and it was too smart for its own good.
Right.
And I'm just kind of like, it kind of ruined it for me,
But
you
Parks
know?
and Rec is so good. Like, they do it on IFC now on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we watch it, like, we just find ourselves laughing.
Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, even it's episodes that we've seen a million times, there's always something where you're like, oh.
I agree.
I love Parks and Rec.
Steve Martin had a comedy album that was amazingly funny. Here's another hot take for you. And I guess Steve Martin as a stand-up was a kind of had to be there in the era type of thing. And there are plenty of those. Steve Martin is not funny.
Oh, my God. My uncle, you met him, my Uncle Terry,
Yeah.
hates Steve Martin.
Why? Because he's just not funny?
Yes. Like,
Steve
this would have been a
Martin is
great
not
conversation
funny.
for you guys to have. He would have loved it.
Steve Martin, like, I don't understand what he does that's funny. Like, he's the straight man can't be the star of the comedy movie, right? Like, the star, like, has to be the wacky guy. That's what makes him the star. The problem is Steve Martin is the star of these movies, but he's not funny. Like, when I look at Steve Martin in any movie he's in, right? What movie do you, like, The Jerk? People usually go back to The Jerk. You hate The Jerk. But I like The Jerk. It makes me laugh. I was born a poor black child. Like, it's not bad. But tell me another movie where you're like, Steve Martin is the funny guy. Like, I like Bowfinger with him and Eddie Murphy.
So not Bringing It Down the House?
Bringing Down the House is a giant piece of shit.
You know which movie I
Father of the
love?
Bride is a piece of shit.
Not Steve Martin. But we said House. House Sitter.
Is that the one with Sinbad?
And Phil Hartman.
And Phil Hartman.
Oh
Phil
my
Hartman
God, that's
is
my
funny.
favorite movie maybe ever. Is that weird?
It kind
It's
of
one
is.
of my favorite movies.
Now, Andy says that Steve Martin wasn't funny and he was there. I don't understand Steve Martin. Outside of The Jerk, which is okay and it's got some funny shit in it, think of a movie where you're like, Steve Martin, funny. Like I think Parenthood's a good movie, but he's not funny in Parenthood. I think it's an okay melodramatic movie, but he's not funny in that movie.
Yeah.
Pink Panther reboot, not that good. Bowfinger is an underrated funny movie.
Father the Bride?
That's not that funny either.
No,
and he's
it's
not
not
funny in the movie. They got wacky characters around him in Father of the Bride. But he was good in Bowfinger with Eddie Murphy, but Eddie Murphy made the movie. Like, I think it's a good movie. Like, I can't think of a movie that I'm like, God, you know who's really funny is Steve Martin. I like he's not laugh out loud. Andy brings up a good one, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But he's only good because he's the straight angry guy to John Candy's kind of big fat oaf character,
Right,
you know?
right.
And it works. So it's a funny movie he's in, but there's no time where I've ever been like, you know, Steve Martin, funny guy. Let me think of another person who's kind of like that. Someone brought up Chevy Chase or Steve Martin. Who's funnier? It's tough because Chevy Chase is also really overrated.
But Chevy Chase is funny in like all the vacation movies.
He is.
And so therefore I think Chevy Chase is funnier.
But he is and he isn't. Like, because Chevy was never really like a hardcore stand-up. Like
Also, really funny in Community seasons 1 and 2.
He was. But his act is very predictable. Like Chevy Chase, his act is kind of dumb, oafy, kind of fall over shit kind of guy. Like in Vacation, he's great. But like when you take him out of the Vacation universe and you put Chevy Chase in other movies, is Chevy Chase really that funny? Like, is he really that funny? Like Three Amigos, not that funny of a movie. Here's a take that really pisses people off. Fletch, not a funny movie. Fletch Lives, awful movie. Funny Farm, not a good movie. Christmas Vacation, one of the funniest movies in the history of movies. Caddyshack, great movie, but like think about him in that. He's just kind of the dry, deadpan kind of humor. So, but Chevy's just one of those guys
But
where
if we're comparing Chevy Chase to Steve Martin, Chevy Chase
yes,
by
I
a
would take.
landslide.
I would
yeah.
take him well over Steve Martin. If you took their couple of best movies over each other, right? Like not the whole catalog, but you just take the 3 or 4 best Chevy Chase movies, which would be Vacation, which would be
Christmas Vacation.
Caddyshack, I guess. Nothing in the 90s. He was dead in the 90s.
And Community for a season. Well, that's TV, but
It's tough because I don't know that I've never found Steve Martin funny. You know where Steve Martin's at his best? In kind of the melodramatic ones. Like he played like one of those dudes that like a traveling minister type of guy, like that goes to towns and like the revival tents and steals people's money. It was a movie called Leap of Faith. Like he was better in that and in Parenthood. And here's another hot take, and I think this is a you had to be there thing. I don't think 75 to 80 SNL is that funny, but I think it's a you had to be there and be in the era and understand the counterculture, because that would be after Nixon into there's a little Gerald Ford in there, then into the Peanut Farmer, Jimmy Carter, and I guess you had to be there. Like you had to go like, okay, I get the humor, but a lot of it doesn't hold up. Like I don't, you know, who else I think is completely unfunny is and I see someone posted Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder's great. Pinche Pancho Villa says Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean, spectacular.
Mr. Bean's great.
Okay, but Dan Aykroyd, not funny. Dan Aykroyd
in the limited role he is.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I think Ghostbusters is a good movie, but it's not funny. Like, I don't see the humor in Ghostbusters. I like it, but it's not like laugh out loud funny, right? I just don't like Dan Aykroyd. I like the Blues Brothers, but outside of that, I can't think like. And then Dan Aykroyd is good in bit parts. Like Dan Aykroyd is good as
Tommy Boy
in Tommy Boy in a small little kind of like asshole role, you know. But he's not great in a bunch of other stuff. Bill Murray is great in movies, but not funny in stand-up, says Andy. Okay, let me get into my discussion here about old Bill Murray. Bill
He's
Murray.
still in this AleSmith, by the way.
I'm still keep in mind it's like 8%. And I'm just trying. Jesus, Jilly.
I'm drinking.
So am I. But anyway, let me get into a discussion here about Bill Murray. Bill Murray was at one time legendary. And then Bill Murray got bored with being funny, is how I view it. So let me put it this way. Virtually everything after Kingpin that Bill Murray has done, which is like 25 years, is not funny. I don't understand. And I almost think that he is deliberately unfunny now.
There's that one movie you liked.
St. Vincent?
Yeah, we saw it in Jenkintown.
It wasn't bad. Okay. But, okay, he's fine. He was also good in the bit part in the Zombieland movie, which is good. But I think that somewhere along the way, Bill Murray didn't have to make mainstream funny movies anymore. So Bill Murray decided to just kind of play this kind of oblivious, kind of like too cool for school funny, shows up at people's weddings, all that. Like M.W. Soulgrove says, Bill Murray may be more overrated than anybody. Bill Murray after Kingpin is. Bill Murray, here's one that a lot of people get into. Okay, so Andy, here's the problem. So Andy says, fuck you, Groundhog Day. What about Bill? That's what about Bob, by the way.
Oh, what about Bob
Caddyshack.
is great.
That's different. Those are all pre-Kingpin. Kingpin came out in 1995. Okay. Or it's 96. I agree. Groundhog Day. What about Bob? Caddyshack. Stripes. Ghostbusters. A really underrated one is Scrooged. Scrooged is fantastic. But it's one. He also made a movie called Quick Change. Very underrated. Here's the issue I run into with Murray. After, like, Murray eventually made all of these brilliant movies and then decided one day he was going to be like, I'm just going to do weird shit now because I can. And that built the character of Bill Murray. Like, and now it's like, hey, I saw Bill Murray like at Walmart, or he showed up at my kid's bat mitzvah. Like, that's his act now. Here's where I lost respect for Bill Murray. And I don't know that a lot of people know this. And I think he's totally fucking full of shit. And this is why I lost respect for him. So Bill Murray did the voice of Garfield in the Garfield movie. He claimed he only took that role in the Garfield movie because he thought the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, were directing it. But it was a different set of Coen brothers. So this is where I think he's full of shit. He's like, I only did that movie because I thought it was going to be the Coen brothers, all that shit. And he backtracked and, okay, that I wasn't into. Bill Murray, I think, has made a lot of dumb, really hipster shit since Kingpin. Bill Murray as Big Ern McCracken in Kingpin is one of the funniest roles in the history of cinema. Rob Ellis on Broad asks, Charles Grodin, funny? No, not even remotely funny. And now, granted, I wasn't around for 70s Charles Grodin, but in my era, Charles Grodin has always played like the grouchy dad type of character in these things. So no, my answer about Charles Grodin would be no. Actually, Andy says, I think your analysis is correct. Bill Murray got bored with Bill Murray. And that's where I've been turned off. And that's been since 1996. We're talking like 25 years. Will Ferrell sucks and has made the same movie 70 different times. Will Ferrell has not always sucked.
He had a stretch.
But Will Ferrell currently sucks, and it finally caught up with him.
Was the worst movie ever Downhill?
Yeah, that was one of the last ones we saw before the Rona.
And two very funny people.
Not funny in this movie.
Oh, my God. Terrible.
The problem with Will Ferrell is this. Will Ferrell, and it's tough because, like, sometimes a comedian or a funny actor can bust out of a thing by playing, like, a darker character. Like look at a guy like Robin Williams. For as funny as Robin Williams was, Robin Williams also would have the ability to be like, oh, look, he's in, what was the one, the Dead Poet Society. Or he's funny, but then he was in What Dreams May Come. Or, oh, he's funny, but here's that one weird movie where he was the photo guy at the Walgreens. I think it was called 1 Hour Photo. He had a little bit of depth about him where he could play kind of a serious role. Good Will Hunting, right? So you would see a lot of those. Will Ferrell's never done that. Like Will Ferrell
He's
has never been the
tried.
funny guy. Like guys like Vince Vaughn tried. Remember, Vince Vaughn was in like Rudy and some more serious shit before he became kind of quick one-liner Vince Vaughn. So like he had some range. He played the Psycho reboot, so he had done some stuff. Will Ferrell doesn't have range. Will Ferrell like, and the sad part is, like Will Ferrell, like I really liked Semi-Pro. I really like Blades of Glory.
Anchorman.
The first 4 hours of Anchorman 2 was good. But he's just made shit since then. And that movie, the Holmes and Watson one, it's like, they just were like, hey, we'll just figure if we put these two guys in a movie, it'll be a hit because it's kind of like the de facto sequel to, the third in the trilogy, I guess.
As we said,
Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, and then this, and it was a total dump.
That one and the Julia Louis-Dreyfus. What is that called? I just said it. Downhill?
Downhill, yes.
Oh, my God. Two very funny people. What an awful movie.
Will Ferrell has the same issue as Trump. He doesn't have anybody who can tell him no. Good point, Andy. Why do ultra-lib comedians turn nasty and dour and bitter? Because they're not really funny. Like, let me give you an example. Let's see. Mark Maron, who in theory is kind of funny. But Mark Maron, if you listen to his podcast or watch shit, like you're like, I don't like this guy at all. There's like zero likability with this dude. Billy Crystal's a tough one. Good question, Jim March Jr. If you're someone of my dad's age, my dad is 50 now, 54 this year. Dad loved like the hosting the Oscars, Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal's an anomaly. Not even an anomaly. I don't know the right word. Billy Crystal's fascinating because they cast him in leading man roles in romantic comedies. And you're like, there's no way in hell any of these hot chicks would bang Billy Crystal. So, for instance, one of the fine Rob Reiner films, When Harry Met Sally, no one believes that hot Meg Ryan is going to bang Billy Crystal. No one believes that Deborah Winger is going to bang Billy Crystal. Like, Billy Crystal's good, but Billy Crystal was like kind of made for the 80s and early 90s. Although he was in Analyze This and Analyze That, and those weren't bad. And those were late 90s, early 2000s. And he's not like, you want to know what was really good? If you haven't watched it, like Father's Day would be a good time to watch it. And I forgot the total number. It was like 700 Sundays or something was the name of it. It was a one-man show that Billy Crystal did talking about his life with his dad before his dad died. And it was spectacular watching this thing. It was emotional. It's just this one-man show. I think it was called 700 Sundays or 500 Sundays or something like that. And it was great. It was on HBO, I think is where it was. Really good. I love this when people ask these questions. Martin Short. Okay, Martin Short. Which one do I want to drink last? Hold on before we get to Martin.
Yeah, you got the best two saved.
I did. I'm going to go with the Parish Brewing one first. And I'm going to save the Pina Colada wheat because your boy likes pina coladas.
So this is the, this is a story.
This is Grand Isle, and there is no story. It's just coconut, kiwi, lime, Berliner style beer that's 5.6%.
Okay.
All right. Billy Crystal took himself too seriously. Yeah, and the thing is, Billy Crystal's not in anything anymore. You know what? He was kind of fun. Like when I look at Billy Crystal in certain movies, I like him. Like I think there's a likability about Billy Crystal.
Sludge just tweets that Varsity Blues best football movie ever.
Who
Agree?
did?
Sludge.
Sludge is awake?
Mm-hmm.
I would call Sludge, but Sludge refused to come on the podcast.
He
He's like,
says,
I don't want to.
5 minutes ago, Varsity Blues is the best football movie of all time.
Okay, so Sludge said this 5 minutes ago. Let me go to Twitter. All right, hold on. Let me see what old Sludgy Wudge is up to. This person says, dude, I just started following you, and this is what you tweet. King of Queens was solid. Oh, so that's someone who's upset about my King of Queens opinion. Oh, there's Sludge. Hold on. I actually agree with that. I agree with this. Because there aren't a lot of great football movies. There are great baseball movies. Football, not as great. I agree with this. Good soundtrack as well. And there's because Sludge. It upsets me that Sludge will not make an appearance on the podcast, but he's, he doesn't want to do anything that can get himself in trouble with his bosses or anything.
He does no podcast.
Oh my God, please. I'll listen to King Tut 10,000 times before Martin Short. Martin Short is also someone who I don't find funny. He's one that fascinates me that I don't get. This is the Parish Brewing Company Grand Isle. Oh boy, this is almost too sweet. Holy cow, this tastes just like a pina colada. But like it's weird. Coconut, kiwi, and lime. This is weird. What the hell is that noise out there?
I don't
Is
know.
there like gang violence happening outside?
No, probably a pedal party.
This isn't bad, but this is really sweet. So I'm gonna drink that one, and then I'm hoping like this is not bad, but it's not something I would drink a ton of.
Well, you better just fucking down it then.
Let's see, North Dallas 40. North Dallas 40 is good, and as I get older, I feel like Nick Nolte waking up at the beginning of North Dallas 40. I feel that way every day that I wake up. Andy feels that Gilbert Gottfried is insufferable, but Gilbert Gottfried was a great character on the show.
Andy, you should watch Episodes.
Episodes was a good show. Yes, we finished that one. Wasn't
This is a
bad.
Gilbert Godfrey appearance.
Not
but his
much,
point is to
but-
be annoying. Yes. Funny show.
It is. I like this discussion. This is a good, healthy discussion that we need to have. These are the important discussions that we need to have here. Let me see here. Hold on. I'm about to have to tweet out to people that we're, rocking and rolling all week long, like Happy Days. Happy Days. Good show.
So that one's really sweet, huh?
That's extremely sweet.
What's
Go
the
ahead, take a
ABV on
swig.
that?
Just take a swig.
Nah.
Just take a swig so you can have a point of reference. Take a swig.
What's the ABV?
It's only like 5.6, so it's not that heavy. Take a swig. One swig.
I don't want to disrupt my carb
One
off.
swig. Take one swig. One swig.
It's almost like a sour.
It's not a sour. It's just really sweet. Yeah, it's too sweet. Oh boy, I couldn't have more than like one of those.
Well, you better down that and go to the next one. Because I think I only have one left too.
Well, that's good.
So you better hurry.
Let's see. Rob Ellis says, "My
Oh,
Rushmore."
it tastes like sunscreen.
It kind of does, doesn't it? Are they 16-ounce beers? This one, the last two I've had are 16 ounces.
So which is your favorite so far?
Probably the Platypus Brewing one, the Out of Orbit.
That's right by our house. We should go see them.
Let's see, Tom Cruise or Keanu Reeves. I've never been a Tom Cruise guy, really. But I'll tell you this, one of the first movies, like my dad used to take me to rated R movies all the time as a kid. But when I got to go see Jerry Maguire as a kid, my mom got pissed because my grandpa gave me some money to go to the movies to go see it. And I know listen, I know we have this discussion all the time.
That one's
Yeah, it's tough. I know we have this discussion all the time. And by the way, while you guys are just hanging out, why don't you guys throw some bits? That little cup there, it is not runnething over. And we're going on now hour number 3 almost of the show tonight. And that cup is not runneth over. I see Krilla Gorillas put in some bits, and Honey Badger, and Dr. Greg, and
if
Drake.
it doesn't pay for the beer, we can't do this every Saturday.
I know. I mean, this is paying for the beer. There you go, Krilla Gorilla.
As
that
someone
baby.
pointed out earlier, you're unemployed. How do you have all this money
Because
for beer?
people put money, they put bread in our jar. That's why.
We use the bits to buy the beer, honestly.
I mean, that's what we do, man. So go ahead and throw some bits in the jar there. We'll wait. Get your bitten hands out.
Chug that sugar Slurpee.
Now, this tastes like diabetes beer. Tastes like it's going to be a headache tomorrow, but whatever. Rock and roll. Scrubber.
Way to play that again. That was so good.
Thank you for the bits again, Krilla Gorilla. You guys just going to leave Krilla Gorilla out here to be the only bidder? Boy, you guys are some real schlubs. Andy says A Few Good Men is on my top 5 list. What, of Tom Cruise movies or just movies ever? Thank you, Drake Beach Time. Thank you, DMaco215. Few Good Men is good. Thank you, Dr. Greg, for another 1,000 bits. This guy always steps up and he's like, I'm here. Let's do this shit. Thank you, John Lovitz. 3 hours. That's longer than Trump. Not by much, though, Andy. John Lovitz, greatest ever, says Sean. John Lovitz is another guy who's great in like quick bit parts. Hey Alf gave us 100 bits. Thank you. Thank you, Jim Martz. Thank you, Bry Guy.
We had the greatest idea.
So tell me if you think this. Okay.
Speaking of Alf.
Well, you guys are just throwing bread in our jar here. Let me throw out an idea, and I want to know if you guys think it's cruel or not, or if you even understand the joke. So in our neighborhood, we keep seeing a bunch of signs on like light poles. And on these signs, it says missing cat. And if any of you know me, I don't believe there's a such thing as a missing cat because cats just, they're never at home anyway. But that really quick, thank you, Hey Big Dog 2020 for the bits. Thank you, CRTXN1. Thank you, Drake Beach Time. Now we're filling up the tip jar. Now this is what it's all about. Thank you, Penche Ponchavi and everybody. Keep putting them in. I want that cup to runneth over to the point that they're like, sorry, we need a new cup.
We need to put up our leaderboard.
It is a. What are you looking
Well,
at?
I can't see your giant beers are in the way.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
I still can't see the other ones in the way.
Well, okay. I'll get you a TV in here at some point.
Well, I didn't know that you had that up. Like sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Well, the next time we get a new studio, I'm going to put a TV right in front of both of us.
Oh, well, that'd be
That's
helpful.
going to be my goal. I tell you what, the main reason I want to get the hell out of here and get a new studio, that's going to be one of my dreams. Is I want to build a nice studio, nice console in here, make it real professional like. Look at all these people dropping bits in here now. Now that's what I'm talking. Fill that jar up. And if you haven't bought a t-shirt, buy a t-shirt. You sound like a pastor on Sunday morning asking for the offering. You ain't lying, but you know what? Your boy's got to make some bread, man. This is like my job.
Wait, what we're just going to talk about?
I don't remember.
Damn it.
Was it something? Oh, that's it. Okay, I got it. So, anyway, just keep putting tips in there. Now, so in our neighborhood, there are signs for missing cats or missing kittens.
Yes.
And our idea was every place we see a sign for a missing cat, we want to put a wanted poster on the same pole. And on the wanted poster, it's going to have a picture of Alf.
That's funny.
Tell me that's not humor. I don't know that anyone would get it. I don't know that anyone would care. Maybe it would only be funny to me, which is one of my big downfalls, is I only care if it's funny to me. But tell me that wouldn't be funny that on a missing cat sign, right above it, you just staple an Alf picture that says
Wanted.
a wanted poster. Tell me that's not humor.
That's great.
Drake Beach Time says Jilly is buzzing, and that's grand. Thanks for all those bits. I was just about to say I don't get it, says MW Soulgrove. How do you not get it?
Alf eats cats.
Alf eats the fucking cats. And his name is Gordon Shumway. Thank you, Sean322. Are we still buying shirts to see Jilly jiggling? I think that was a last week.
No, that was
only.
100 for last week.
Thank you, Drew19120. Appreciate the bit. Ah, boy, that's sweet. I mean, I couldn't do more than one of those.
Well, maybe your next one will be.
I
So
mean,
wait, what's still the favorite? Is the platypus?
Yep, platypus. Thank you for more of the bits. So nobody else would have found that funny?
I think it's hysterical.
I mean, it's a picture of Alf, and Alf eats cats. Okay, now I get it. And yeah, that's funny. I never watched Alf. Y'all should absolutely do that. Everybody knows that Alf eats cats. That's his thing. He was always chasing the cat. Boy, this Just Nation shirt pops, man. And I look thin in it because it's black. Monday, like we're going to Baton Rouge here in about 10 days or so. So I'm going to try to drop a few more pounds because my dad ends up being judgmental every time I go to town.
You could weigh 100 pounds. Your dad would be judgmental.
He is, and it's fine. Like, I don't get my feelings hurt. Like, I don't give a shit. But it's always like, because my dad basically will use me being fat as an excuse for him to, like, he's like, yeah, Josh, looks like you're a little kind of big there, huh? Look, I'm big too. It's okay. I'm like, thanks, Dad. Mac, yeah, that's right. He's from Melmac. You're correct. It's Gordon Shumway. Josh, what's a good beer for me to drink after working a 14-hour shift and just one 30-minute break? Well, do you want to be drunk or do you want to buzz? I mean, these are the questions, man. I miss Alf. I do.
Oh, Alf. That beer.
I'm just trying to get through it. I mean, it's not horrible, but I could like.
And that's like a lower one that you've been drinking, so you could probably just chug that.
Yes, but it's hard to chug it.
Oh, I
because
know. I
It's
tried
way
it.
too sweet.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like a 5 something, which is nothing for you. And then
Oh.
you got one left. What is the last one?
It's a pina colada one.
And what is the ABV?
7, I think. I think it's 7. I'm heading to the Poconos for a week Monday. I'm so pumped. Well, good for you, Jim March Jr. What do you do at the Poconos like during the summer? Like the Poconos where you go skiing, right? So like
You can camp up there.
Oh dear. This one.
We didn't even play the Maury game tonight.
No, we might have to use that one next week. Oof. I'm gonna try to get through this. I'm gonna make it after all. Who can turn the world on with her smile? What's the best TV show theme song of all time?
Oh, God.
This one always pisses you off.
I like TV theme songs, but you just do them so much.
Oh, don't be so hateful. You talk like I'm the cousin, you're Moraine here. And you're going back to like, but that's like me doing Why Do You Hate the Cowboys?
No.
That's like, this is my Why Do You Hate the Cowboys?
Well, it kind of is.
It's what my people want. Maybe Cuz has the right idea. Maybe he knows what the people want. Andy says, pour it down the toilet. It sounds dreadful. Well, if you think a beer with coconut, kiwi, lime, Berliner is terrible. And then the next one I'm going to have is another pina colada one.
Well, just finish that one and get to the next one, because that one's not good for you.
I'm going to finish it, though, because I'm a man, and that's what men do.
Grand Isle.
Grand Isle. I was really let down by you, Grand Isle.
Luther, you were very hopeful of that one. You saved it for this moment.
Oh, well, I got my last one after that, though. Perfect Strangers was a great theme song. Who you telling? Of course, Andy goes Gilligan's Island. Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip. That's a good one, though. Flintstones classic. Flintstones was just a cartoon version of the Honey Movers set in prehistoric time.
I love the Golden Girls, but not the Campbell Soup Golden Girls remix.
No.
You hate that one.
Which, oh, God. Oh, yeah, that's awful. The Flintstones, of course, was Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones. They're the modern Stone Age family. From the town of Bedrock. They're a page right out of history. Let's ride with the... Oh, actually, I combined. That's the end where they do the Let's Ride with the Family down the street.
I like the Jetsons when they meet the Flintstones. That's one of my favorites.
That's a classic. What was really kind of cool, and I never got to experience it because Dad, that Scooby movie, the first one Dad did, was at the old Hanna-Barbera studio, and Dad got to meet both of the guys from Hanna-Barbera, Joseph Hanna and William Barbera. It's William Hanna and Joseph Barbera. He got to meet them. I didn't get to go to that studio, but I did get to go the other 2 times, I think, or one of the times he made a movie I got to go. I want to say it was a movie called Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. The first movie my dad did, Scooby, he was Scooby. Billy West was Shaggy. Mark Hamill was in this movie. Adrienne Barbeau was in this movie. And Frank Welker, who's kind of a legendary voice actor, was in it too. Then the next couple of movies Dad did, he was both Scooby and Shaggy. They didn't have Billy West doing Shaggy in that one. But Billy West did do Shaggy in the first one. And looking back on it, I wish I could have gone to that, because at the time I didn't really appreciate it. I was 12 years old, so I wouldn't have known, hey, it's Billy West from the Stern Show. But I would have been all sorts of jacked up about that, man. I did get to meet the fat gal that played Mimi from Drew Carey at one of these.
Oh.
I got to meet, what's her name, that played Marcy Runkle. I got Pamela Adlon. I met her. She also did the voice of Bobby Hill on King of the Hill. I got to meet the guy that does either Pinky or the Brain. It was this big, heavy-set black guy, and I forgot which role he played. But I got to meet him at one of these. I want to say that, what's his name, Tim Curry was at one of them. It was a fine time to be alive. That was many moons ago, back when I was a boy, back in 2000. And you know what's so weird about the world back then, right? And like kids today, I guess, wouldn't understand it because they've had cell phones. You know, if you're 15 now, you've never had a life without a cell phone. If you're 20 now, you've never had a life without a cell phone, right? Because by the time you're old enough to have a cell phone, there were cell phones. So, but growing up, getting a cell phone like in 2002 was a huge deal. And then eventually, you know, like 3, 4, 5, you get. But in 2000, when my dad took me to LA, he was doing, I think, a video game at the time. And we were on Hollywood Boulevard, right? Is Hollywood Boulevard where the Grauman's Chinese Theater is?
Yes.
Okay. So we were on Hollywood Boulevard. And my dad, keep in mind, no cell phones, nothing. There's no way I can contact him. I'm a 12-year-old kid in LA. But like, think about parenting back then. This isn't that far ago. Dad goes, yeah, Josh, I'm doing this. So just go off, figure something out. 12-year-old me, or 13-year-old me. He's like, just go off and do whatever. So I'm like, all right, Dad, sounds good to me. So I'm walking up and down Hollywood Boulevard. I go to the Grauman's Chinese Theater, and I see a movie called The Perfect Storm. And there's no cell phone. So my dad has no clue where I am. And I'm basically just not lost, but I'm not lost in Los Angeles. And Dad has no way of finding me. Like, people today wouldn't understand this. Now, again, if you're of a certain age, of course you understand it. Like, who doesn't remember that time in your life where you didn't have cell phones? So if Dad drops you off at the ball game or the hockey game or whatever, like your dad drops you off and says, I will pick you up here at this time and you better be there. Or if we get separated at the ball game, meet me at the bathroom here, like that type of shit. Kids today don't get that because it's as simple as picking up your cell and calling or texting. But like back then, like if you lost your parent or lost a grandparent or whatever, you couldn't find them. It was just, well, let's hope for the best. Like when I went to games with my grandpa in St. Louis, that's kind of how it went. He's like, if I lose you, meet me at the Stan Musial statue. That's kind of how it was, and you hope for the best, man. Nobody else gets that shit. These kids today will never fully understand that.
That was one of the best like episodes of the Goldbergs where they're like, oh, was it Adam's
He lost him at the vet. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, but my
Send me
dad.
another.
Yeah, but we were in LA. And now, like, I think I'd appreciate it more now than I did then. And I think my dad also went and did a thing with Rick Dees. I wasn't there for that one. But now, I'd look back at that today and be like, God, I wish I would have been there. Because my dad used to, like, write some stuff for Rick Dees.
Is this the last one? Like, what's in there?
Just my other one.
Huh?
I'm going. I'm trying to get through this.
Through what? You can stop whenever.
This beer was like $4.50. I'm gonna drink it. Ugh. That's rough. It's not rough. Whew. Not good. This is not good. And then we would go to Universal. We always stayed, because my dad's a touristy type person, so we would stay at Universal. So every time I went to LA with my dad, which was 3 times, we would stay at the Sheraton Universal. We would stay at the Sheraton Universal, and we would go walk up and down the city walk at Universal. Then we would go into the the theme park. Boy, I miss those times. It was so cool when Dad would be like, you're coming with me to L.A. And my dad's the weirdest flyer. He, like, flips out. By the way,
I
thank
can't
you for
even
the
imagine
bits,
your
Steve.
dad flying.
He flips out. Like, he'll take, like, he just sits there and breathes really heavy. Like, I don't get nervous flying at all unless there's turbulence. But I'm not a nervous flyer. My dad is just a nervous flyer, and he'll start sitting there feeling for his big thing is he feels for, like, his lymph, like his, what do they call these things? Lymph nodes or what? He's up here and he's just like, I don't know what that means, but he feels for it. He's weird. How has Rich been doing? Been thinking about him today. Well, Rich was on, was it 2 weeks ago that Rich was on with me now? Like 2.5 weeks? My goal was to get Rich on once or twice a week, so on the 97.5 show. So we'll see if that happens. Thank you, Drake, for the bits, and thank you, Steve from the 713 for the bits, and thank you again, Steve from the 713 for the bits. You guys are great. I'm such a radio nerd, though, man. Well, I think this is when Andy was still at. Actually, Andy may have already been gone from WIP. And there was a stretch where I had some pain pills because I had a tooth thing done in Philly. And I would take 1 or 2 of them on occasion.
We have the best. By the way, if you're in Philly,
Dr. Dave.
Dr. Dave.
Dr. Dave is great.
Dr. Dave Slabinski.
Yep. And
Fishtown.
Slobodinsky. And
Best dentist ever.
he was great. And I had a tooth thing, so I had some pain pills. And one day I took a couple of them. And if I take enough of them, I feel pretty good. I think Andy was already gone by this point. And I went into the CBS radio, because at the time we were still CBS. I went into the CBS radio directory, and I just looked up anybody in there that I thought was legendary and just sent them emails. And I sent Scott Shannon, who is, Andy's going to find this to be a joke, but Scott Shannon I find to be legendary, right? And I sent Scott Shannon an email, and I go, hey, my dad used to do some stuff with you, and I think you're fucking awesome. And you create, like, you're legendary, and you created this whole morning zoo. Whether people like it or not, it doesn't really matter. You created this, and a lot of people have ripped it off, and it's awesome. And lo and behold, Scott Shannon got back to me, and it was like, holy cow, Scott Shannon got back to me. Like, no matter who you are, here's what I've learned about people. No matter who you are, there will always be someone that you nerd out over, no matter what. You know, I was talking about this with Andy last night. Like, Andy said, hey, the time I got to meet Muhammad Ali, it was like a huge deal. He said that. Or when he met Ronald Reagan, it was a huge deal. There are certain people that, like, I wouldn't be in awe if I met like a Howard Stern or a Scott Shannon, especially Stern now. But it'd be cool.
You would be in awe if you met Shannon.
If I met Scott Shannon, I would, but not awe. I'd be thrilled, but I wouldn't be like can't talk in awe type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But like Stern, for instance, it would have been that way. If I would have met Stern at one point, it would have been the greatest moment of my life. I just don't give a shit about Stern anymore, so it doesn't do anything for me. I'm trying to think if there's anybody I could meet. This is a discussion that Andy and I were having yesterday. I'm trying to think of anybody that I could meet where I'd go, wow, like is there anybody you could meet that you'd feel that way about? Like some celebrity, if you met them, like it'd be like a life-altering experience. Like you'd be nervous. It'd be this. You got to meet Luke Bryan when we were in Philly.
I did meet Luke Bryan. It wasn't a nerve-altering experience, but I met him.
Shit, I'm trying to think. Stern turned into Don Imus. Real talk, I would rather meet Imus, and granted he's dead, so that'd be pretty impressive. If I met Don Imus today, it'd be like a big fucking deal. I'd be on Unsolved Mysteries. But like I find, at least Imus basically stuck with who he was.
But you really wanted to meet Chad Kroger.
I did, but that was just for the bit.
And then you got angry. You got very angry and chugged like 8% beers.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think if there's one person I could meet today.
Sammy.
I think Hagar is the one I keep coming back to. What if you met Ozzie Smith? I've met Ozzie Smith. It was a brief encounter, but it was at one of these card shows, and one of the guys got me backstage.
No, I feel it would be Sammy Hagar.
There's no one from the Cardinals that, like, I met Jack Buck, who was my hero, and that was awesome.
Sammy
And I've
Hagar.
met Mike Shannon, who's one of my heroes. I'm leaning towards, and I think you're right. If I got to meet Sammy Hagar and have a conversation with him, I think that would be badass. I would go Sammy is about as close as that could get.
Oh, yeah.
Carrie says Demi Lovato. I met Demi Lovato, Carrie. You should know that. I took a picture with her. I do like her a lot, though.
Prom style.
Albert Pujols. I've been in Albert Pujols' presence in the locker room after the Cardinals clinched a playoff spot in 11. That wouldn't be the same for me. There's no one I can think of athlete-wise that I'd be in awe of. I guess I'm kind of immune to it now, so I can't think of it. If I met Sammy Hagar, and I think you're right, Andy, like if you don't know it beforehand, it's just kind of like a wow type of thing. Like, wasn't there someone we saw recently? Not maybe recently, but someone.
No.
Luther, wake up, buddy. What?
Don't get him.
Oh, he's fine. He was just asleep.
I know, but he wants.
I'm coming, Jelly. Hold on. I'm trying to think here. Someone that we met. Did we ever see someone like that? No, I can't think of anybody. You know, there was one time. Remember when we were in LA that one time and we saw Richard Lewis just standing on the corner?
Yes.
We didn't stop, but Richard Lewis was on the corner.
We were driving by.
I'm like, holy shit, it's Richard Lewis. God, I can't. That one time we had the conversation with Bill Champlin from Chicago.
Okay, that's not comparable to fucking Sammy Hagar.
No, but we did sit there with him, and I did talk with him about how.
Yeah, you asked
I
about
don't.
Secret Life of the American Teenager.
That's not Bill Champlin. So. You got it
that
mixed
was
up. that was the dude from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay, Bill Champlin. You said, "Is Peter Cetera an asshole?"
And I thought he'd say yes, and I thought we were going to have common ground, but he said no, he wasn't. So that didn't work out. I really can't think, like, it would have to be Sammy. If I met Sammy, that would be a huge deal.
Or Chad Kroger.
But that would just be for the goof of the picture, you know? Sammy, I legitimately would want to meet. He's kind of a hero.
Okay, you also legitimately want to meet Chad Kroger.
I do, but it's also for the goof.
You pouted when you didn't get to meet him.
Let's see.
You literally pouted and pouted like.
Because I was set because I wanted to take the goddamn picture with him. That's why.
No, you really want Chad
I did because I
Kroger.
wanted to take a picture because it would have been great on the damn thing. Cher would be your answer. Oh boy, I'd be excited if I met Cher. She's a total gash on the internet and like she's obnoxious and terrible, but I'd be down. Andy says I've met 2 Beatles, all the current Rolling Stones. Now he's just name dropping. Both Bushes, Obama, before he was even a U.S. Senator, actually had a ton of charisma. Well, Andy, you're cooler than all of us, aren't you?
You're done with that one. Okay.
Finally.
So the last one.
Yeah. This is pina colada wheat. I think I've got high hopes for this one.
It's a wheat too, so it's not an IPA.
This should be good.
So I feel like that'll be better.
I feel good about it.
'Cause IPAs get a bit much, but this is a wheat. It should be good. Oh, that was sassy.
That was ridiculous. All this air just let out of this thing.
That was sassy.
Okay. All right, let's hope.
And this is what is it? What's it called?
This is called Getting Tiki with It. Pina Colada Wheat.
From who?
Left Hand Brewing Company in Longmont, Colorado. Do you still love Britney, Josh? Britney Spears? I do. But I don't know that I'd be overly excited to meet Britney Spears. I'd be happy.
Oh, please. You would be very
But I'm
overly...
trying to think of someone who would be...
You
it
would be
change...
very overly excited.
I'm talking about someone that would change my life if I met this person.
Oh, well, that's Sammy Hagar. We know that.
Because Sammy's he's like a hero of mine. Because he's a great entrepreneur. Let's see. Please be better than the last one. That last one was poison. It's better than that one. But it's much better than that one because that was way too sweet.
So you're still mad you left this as your last one.
No, because it's better.
What's the ABV?
Let's see here. The ABV is 7.5. This one's not bad.
So of all of these, what is your favorite? Let's rank them now before you forget.
I don't remember the first. I know that my least favorite was this one.
Mm-hmm.
Then the peach one.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would go.
You like the platypus.
I would go. Then it was this one.
Okay.
Then this one. Then the platypus. Oh wait, hold on. That doesn't make any sense. Hold on. Because this one, I don't know where I'm ranking this one yet. Okay?
But your favorite though is what? Platypus?
So far, not counting this one yet, I would go platypus is number 1. This is number 1. This is number 2. This would be the AleSmith. This one would be number 3, the Founders. This one would be number 4, the Impeachment. And then the Parish one would be number 5. The question is where this one falls, and I don't know that yet. 6 years later, I'm programming radio stations back in Philly. Says I must have missed the first part of Andy's thing. You know you would lose your shit if you ran into Cousin Larry from Perfect Strangers. His name is Mark Lynn Baker, by the way, and I'd probably be more excited to meet Balky, but you're not wrong. me take a couple more swigs of this and see what I'm feeling. Like this one it doesn't really taste like anything. It's fine, but it's just kind of there.
So it's not as sweet though.
No,
Maybe
this
because
one-
you drank that
The thing is,
sweet
this wasn't
one.
an awful beer, by the way. The one from Parrish wasn't awful. This Grand Isle, it tasted like diabetes. It was just too much.
I mean, it was too sweet. Now you can't taste the goodness of that beer.
No, I don't think that's true. I don't think so. I'm glad that Andy's in here just sharing anecdotes with people. Larry David would be cool to meet. I don't know that he'd be cool to meet. It'd be nice, I guess, but it's not like it's a dream of mine. Like,
Larry
I wish
David's
I had
kind
a
of my
hero.
fucking idol.
Like, I wish I had I guess Sammy is like my hero. And a lot of I just love Sammy Hagar. Like, I don't give a shit about DLR and I don't give a shit about Eddie Van Halen. But I like Sammy. Sammy's my man. Trying to think of any other artists. Because I've also got to meet a lot of, like, my low-level celebrity people I'd like to meet through my dad, you know? Like, Dad's best friend was the lead singer of Survivor. Like, and these are just people I grew up around, so it was nothing new to me, you know? It's not a big deal.
Let's just play the kiss thing again.
I took it down already, so I'd have to...
Oh man.
Prince would be cool to meet. Well, that'd be pretty spectacular because you'd be meeting the dead. I'm amazed by the number of people that just sit around and watch this. You guys are awesome. I'll have to rank this last one here after I drink it.
That's it. We're out, right?
Yeah. There's Josh in a show koozie if you'd like to get one on the website. I can't. John Daly parked just his RV at my dad's storage facility during the Shell Houston Open one year. He's a drunk maniac, also the nicest fella ever. That's pretty cool. That's another guy I would have liked to have met, as old John Daly. That's not like he's dead. I still could, I guess. I'm a huge Yes fan. Being a bit older than you, I've met all of them except Trevor Horton. Yes doesn't do anything for me. Thank you, Benny Fresh. Thank you, Steve from the 713 for the bits. People just dropping bits in here. We're a bit machine. Do you guys think Sludge ever responded to my tweet? Probably not, knowing old Sludge. The answer is no. Damn you, Sludge. You don't even love me anymore. You don't bring me flowers anymore. Oh boy, I'd be pretty awestruck to meet Neil Diamond, not gonna lie to you. If Neil Diamond rolled up, I'd be pretty like, whoa, Neil is here. Used to be so natural. Talk about forever. But used to be's don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till we sweep them away. I do like Neil. Andy's got all these stories about Prince. Boy, I miss you, Andy. When's the last time I saw... The last time I saw Andy in person was that time I was in Philly a couple years ago, and unfortunately, Andy didn't get to the party until way too late. So I was like basically hammered by the time Andy got there, and I'm fairly certain I fell asleep in like the first hour, and I felt terrible about it. Why doesn't Sludge just create an alias when he comes on, change his voice? Then you wouldn't know it's Sludge, and what would be the point, Chief? It's probably been a couple years since I've seen Andy. Luthi, what are you doing down there, little handsome man? Andy, come back on the podcast FaceTime. We'll have to do that again sometime and just talk more radio stuff. What if you met the Pope? That'd be like something I'd brag to my grandpa about, but I wouldn't really care. Like, by the way, I met the Pope. Sometimes meeting people is cool just because you get to brag to people who would love to meet them. Or it impresses chicks. Josh, how drunk are you on a scale of 1 to 10? 5? 6? The thing about my drunkenness is like there'll become a point where it'll just hit me, and then it's over. Yep, Andy, it is the story of your life being late. Isn't he in Chicago? Who? Who's in Chicago? Oh, Sludge? Yeah, he's in Chicago. I'm looking at a picture. You know what was a cool one? I'm looking at a picture that's on my wall right here. It's a picture of me and Gene Simmons in the full Kiss makeup backstage at a Kiss show in 2004 at the New Orleans Arena. It's funny as I'm wearing a Kansas City Chiefs t-shirt and hat. And I have the hat, but you can see hair sticking out of the bottom of it. And it is, it's like bleach blonde. Andy has never met the Pope. So, in case you were wondering, Jelly, Andy's never met the Pope. MW Soulgrove quotes me, sometimes meeting people is cool so you can brag to people who'd want to meet them. That's totally how it is, man. Like, it's cool to have, like, people, wait, you met such and such? Like, yeah, I did. Like, at some of my dad's concerts, he used to put on these concerts for St. Jude called the Dream Day concerts. And now I did get to meet Kenny Rogers a couple of times, and I thought that was cool. And I've met a lot of country artists through my dad. Now he hangs out with guys like Mike Reno, who I have not met yet, but I'd like to meet Mike Reno.
I feel like we met Mike Reno.
We didn't. We have not met Mike Reno.
He wasn't at the Jimmy Jameson thing?
He was not.
Hmm.
No, you know who was? Mickey Thomas was.
Oh.
We met Mickey Thomas briefly, and some broad that was with Mickey Thomas. Mickey Thomas, of course, was in Jefferson Starship, and then he was in Starship. So we met him. Who else did we meet?
We met Jim Peterick.
We met Jim Peterick, who's awesome.
That's Bobo's friend.
We met Kelly Keegi from Night Ranger. We met Night Ranger like 6 times.
You did. I was outside with guitars.
Okay, you didn't meet Night Ranger that time?
No.
Well, but you also got a hug from Rick Springfield. So I didn't get a hug from Rick Springfield. You did. So I'm fairly certain you won. I met Joe Jonas and Rush, but I couldn't care less about Joe, but many women would have left. We met Joe Jonas.
We met Nick Jonas.
Sorry, we met Nick Jonas and Demi Lovato.
Joe used to have a crush on me. Let's confirm.
This is Jilly's claim here that Joe Jonas used to have a crush on.
Oh, yeah. He would refer to me by name. Like, he knew me back in the day. And now the chick from Game of Thrones is married to him. So, you know, it could have been me.
Yeah.
Could have been me.
Josh, do you think will ever have his own show? To which Andy says it would be better for Josh to build the podcast than work in radio. Well, it's a good podcast. Oh, actually, MW Soulgrove actually met Nick Jonas, not Joe Jonas. Wait, Andy says, I have a great Starship and Night Ranger story that you will love. Well, of course I'd love this story, because who wouldn't love it? Who wouldn't love a Night Ranger and Starship story? I do love Starship, too. Little, we built this city. Little, nothing's going to stop us now. A little Sarah. A little, it's not over till it's over. Do, 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 do. It's not over till we get it right. Good jam. And then, of course, Night Ranger. We were having this discussion in the car earlier. Jilly, what is your favorite Night Ranger song?
I think it's You Still Rockin' America.
You Can Still Rock in America's a good song.
And You Close Your Eyes is a good song.
Did you know Farsi was going to make it
Ooh,
big?
Don't Tell Me You Love Me.
That's a good one, too. Did you know Farsi was going to make it big when you worked with him? Has he made it big? Yeah, I know he does mornings on there, but I mean, has he made it big is the question. Night Ranger's got like 10 or 11 great jams. Then you combine the stuff that Jack Blades did with Damn Yankees, and they had like 3 hits. It's a good show. Like, there's like, you go see a Night Ranger show, and you're going to get like 10, 11, 12, 13 songs that you know, and it's badass. Let's see here. The dudes from Rush were dope, but Neil didn't do much public shit, so unfortunately I missed out on seeing it. I wouldn't care about Rush. That didn't do anything for me. What year was that from? Which one are we talking about? We built. I went to tell you. I was on Saturday. You were singing. We built the city. I think we built this city was in 1985. I think was the year that we built this city came out. It's one of the biggest hits of 1985, I believe. And then of course the song "Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now" was in a movie called Mannequin, and Mannequin was filmed in Philadelphia. And it starred Kim Cattrall, and it starred Andrew McCarthy. And then they had, basically, there were two albums there was one huge album for Starship, and then I think they had another one that followed that had like one song or two songs. But like mid-'80s, Starship had some massive hits.
So where do we rank the Pina Colada wheat?
If this thing is 5 of 6, then if this one's 6, this one's 5.
So you thought were the best two.
They were worse.
So which is your favorite?
I told you the favorite of them was the
Okay.
It's not over till it's over. What other rabbit hole can we go down tonight? Hey, you just asked the question. I'll answer. I was going to ask about Sheena Easton, but someone on 97.5 radio said she was dead. That was me, and I was wrong. But I did like Sheena Easton. Aerosmith with Slash opening in 2014 was a great concert. I don't really give a shit about Aerosmith. I thought I did, but I saw them once, and I wasn't really into it. I like more late 80s, early 90s Aerosmith myself. So Andy saw Night Ranger and Starship, and there was clearly tension between the two bands. What tension could there be between Night Ranger and Starship? You're Night Ranger and Starship.
Obviously,
it's not like you're
lot.
Biggie and Tupac or some shit. You're Night Ranger and Starship. I was there with Night Ranger, says Andy. He's sharing this story. We're getting the deeds here. It's not over till it's over. Starship was on and they were getting warmed up, says Andy. That's Night Ranger, you understand? I like when Andy gets into his stories. He's such a legend. I love him. If you can go back in time with a gun, 2 bullets, and sitting in a room with Hitler, Karl Marx, and Adam Clanton, who are you shooting? I'm shooting. Oh boy. I know. The thing is, Karl Marx never did anything to me. Let's see. Do you like Men in Black movies? I like the first one. I couldn't tell you what happened in the second or the third one. So to warm up, Night Ranger did a parody of We Built This City. We built this city on Tootsie Rolls. Oh, like, so I'm guessing Night Ranger thought they were like hardcore rockers, and they're like mocking the guys in Starship. That's what this is sounding like here. Super Nintendo, which games were you best at? I didn't play Super Nintendo. That was more of a Jilly thing. You played Super Nintendo, right?
Oh, yeah.
What was your favorite Super Nintendo game?
Mario Kart or Donkey Kong Jr.
I didn't really get into Super Nintendo. I had Sega and I had regular Nintendo.
That's what I liked.
Super Mario Brothers
Super
3.
Mario World. No, World with Yoshi.
Josh, when this podcast is huge and you could have any producer, who would you have? Jim? If not, I would have Jim. I accompanied my daughter to a Fall Out Boy meet and greet. I'd have fun with that. Let's see here. Genesis was also great on the Mama Tour and Invisible Touch. Genesis also does nothing for me. I kind of like Phil Collins at times. So Andy continues with his story. Starship finishes, walks past Night Ranger's dressing room. Yes, they thought they were rockers and were mocking Starship. Okay, that's what I figured they were doing, because they probably thought they were hardcore and that Starship were pussies. That's what I assumed would happen, because, like, and let me tell you something. Night Ranger rocks fucking hard, by the way. I love Night Ranger.
Hard.
I've seen Night Ranger in so many small casinos. Well, like 3. Did we see Night Ranger in who did we see at Hershey Park?
We saw Ario Speedwagon and Def Leppard.
Was there one other was it Tesla that was also there?
Yeah,
with
I
them?
think it was
I don't give a
Tesla.
shit about Tesla. I'm not a Tesla guy. That's not really my thing. Tesla action for you. Nothing beats a good old casino concert. I saw, or you and I did actually. We saw Air Supply at a casino in Philly, and like the ceiling was lower than this ceiling in our room. It was like a conference room.
You
So,
rushed the stage.
It was a good time. Right as Starship passed them, they let out a loud, "We built this city on Tootsie Rolls." Starship stops. If looks could kill, Night Ranger would have been turned to salt. That's the story. Well, thank you, Andy. But here's the thing. Night Ranger did rock harder than Starship. Now, was Grace Slick there? Because obviously Mickey Thomas is in Starship, and Grace Slick eventually left Starship. Well, I think she left when it was Jefferson Airplane, and then realized there was money to be made, and she came back. Oh, wait, the comeback was Starship mocking with Sister Christian. You're an ugly one, and that's where it ends. Sister Christian, you're an ugly one. Boy, that is the lamest rock beef I've ever heard. Rappers are like, we shoot each other, and you guys are talking about Tootsie Rolls. Well, let me tell you, though, that Night Ranger, what a band.
Shit, sorry.
Don't kick over your camera. I know it's tough, but we get a better angle now. We built this city. Built this city.
Did you show off the koozies, which also are available?
That's true. If you guys want to buy a koozie along with your T-shirt, Josh and us show koozies. We have some big fans, man. Have you guys bought all your T-shirts? Let me know, guys. Have you bought your T-shirts?
What's our hashtag going to be? We need a hashtag.
For what?
Because people are going to start to get these T-shirts in a couple days, and we need to have a hashtag.
Hashtag JustNation.
Okay.
That's what I usually hashtag. Hashtag JustNation. That's what you see right here. That's a baller ass shirt, by the way. We are one nation under Gist.
Who's our designer?
Is that Aaron Sanchez?
Adam
Sanchez? I know. I feel bad because I forget.
You have to give him credit.
I do. He created it. Yes. Where's my shirt? Well, your shirt will be there at some point. Are we at 100 yet? We came close. I think we're close to 100. Benny Fresh 9 just dropped 400 bits. If you guys want to keep this thing going, listen, here's the thing. If you guys want to keep this going, I can go downstairs and get us a couple more beers.
Well, I mean, we're out of beers.
That's what I'm saying. So I'll go downstairs. But you guys got to fill up the bread here. Put the bread in the jar.
We are out, so we're about to be done.
When you going to news studio? What news studio? Just Nation Unwoke. I tried to call the show Unwoke, but Andy said Unwoke would not be a good name. So if you guys want to throw in some bits, we'll keep this thing going. If not, I have no qualms with going to bed and grabbing a slice of cold pizza and going to bed.
Well, these are our last beers, so.
That's what I'm saying. So if you guys want us to stay around, throw some bread in our jar. Just throw in some bits. Thank you, Jim March Jr. for the bits. Throw in some bits. Jilly, how drunk are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Asked Benny Fresh.
About an 8.
You're about an 8?
Yeah.
I'm at like a 5, 6. I think I'm like a 6.
Really?
Well, here's the thing about me, though. You know that when I'm doing this, I'm not. And then the second I lay down, I'm like passed out drunk. It's just, listen, you guys got to throw some bits.
I have folks that say we're both slurring and we should go to bed.
Who said that? Okay, well,
People.
we can do that. That's fine.
I've been told.
Okay, well, so Pinche throws in some bits.
I've been told that we're slurring.
Okay, well, I can go get us one more beer apiece.
And I've been told we should go to bed. That was an hour ago.
Okay, so we're good. Let's see. Drake Beach Time threw in some bits. Jim March threw in some bits. Krilla Gorilla threw in some bits. There we go. I tell you. All right, I will go get us each one more.
Okay.
What? What?
That's fine. He's gonna want to go and eat.
I know. Well, we can do that too. You know. Maybe we'll call it a night.
Well, if you put in bits, we can't call it a night.
Oh, what? Drake Beach Time just threw in 1,000 bits. Well, then I'll go get us one more beer apiece. One more beer. I'll be right back. Entertain the masses.
Okay. Well, he's gonna want to pee.
Come on, Luke. Let's go potty. Come on, buddy. Let's go potty. Good boy. Stretch it out. Stretch it out.
Now you'll never get him back up there.
Well, then don't. Why would you tell me to take him?
Well, because he's gonna pee.
Come on, let's go pee, Luther. Come on, Luther. Let's go. You want to take him? I'll wrap things up here. Take him to the backyard. You take him. I'll follow. Here, take him to the backyard. Go. Go, Jelly. Go. Go. Luther, let's mom take him. Just go take him. Oh, Luther, what a good boy. What a good boy. You're a good boy, Luther. Yeah, bring like 2 of them up here. Or you don't have to if you don't want to. Oh, cool. All right. Let's see here. All right. People throwing bits in there. Now we're rocking. Now we're rocking. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Josh, you should get Andy's kid to be your manager. He knows radio is dead and podcast streamcast is where it's at. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Boy. Let's see here. Jilly can show us the room. There's not much to see. Not much to see, fellas. Love you, gorgeous bastards. I got to wake up in 5.5 hours, says Corey. Well, we can always, bring an end to this. And, they'll always be Monday. Really loving the shirt. Looks like they came out great. They did. Dude, these shirts are badass, bro. Badass. If you guys haven't ordered one, get one. JoshInAShow.com. Thank you, Jim March Jr. Appreciate the bits. No, the shirts are badass. I'm very proud of that look about them. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. Don't talk to strangers, baby, don't you talk. Let's see here. Let's see here. So what are your thoughts about the Trump rally? Well, I gave my thoughts on the Trump rally earlier, actually. So what I'm probably going to have to do then is I'm probably going to have to get out of here. So I got to go tomorrow. I got to meet with Joe Kraus. Got to drink some more beers tomorrow. So if I'm going to have to get out of here, because tomorrow there could be a chance, who knows, maybe we find the future a Just Nation radio spot. Who knows? That could be tomorrow. So anyway, appreciate you guys. You're wonderful people. But good show tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Pinche. Laters. Appreciate you guys. Well, we gave you a good 3.5 hours tonight, over 3.5 hours. You guys are wonderful.